All right, peace, family. Thank you for joining me. This is Morey Yacob on ITFTR Network. And this is the day that the Creator has gave us, starting Friday night to Saturday night, dawn to dawn, evening to evening, night to night. We thank the Creator for each one of you for being in our presence. You know, without you, then, you know, the channel will be just a channel. So we thank the Creator for each one of you for joining us today. Before we get started, I must blow the shofar. Okay. We thank the Creator for each one of you. Make sure when you come in, you press the like and subscribe button and the share button to let others know that we are here. And we thank the Creator for just being here. We thank the Creator for every day that He allow us to be here. It's not for us. It's for the purpose of Him. Now, in the process of us being here, we have an opportunity to get things correct and right, so that when the day that we do stand before judgment, we can have things together. You know, so we want to thank the Creator for just giving us the opportunity to be able to have the things that's maintaining us in this captivity. We thank the Creator for giving us the opportunity to be able to, you know, have an opportunity with strength in our bodies, you know, thought within our minds, and also the doing spirit, the will of our actions to be able to perform what He has purpose for us. A lot of us, we have a notion that, you know, if I just do this and do that, then everything will be good. Okay. And then we have a tendency of a notion to believe that what we are doing is beneficial to the Creator. Okay. A lot of us, we have, you know, it baffles me that a lot of people, they come up here and they begin to tell me what I don't understand. You know, do I have the understanding of everything? No, of course not. Do I know everything? Of course not. It's foolish to even think that you do. And that would be foolish to think that I do. No man possess all knowledge. But what man do possess is trying to obtain that knowledge. Hey, peace, Brother Trey. Peace, Brother Trey. Man, man has the appetite to obtain knowledge. You know? And then you have some of those men that has the opportunity that's trying to obtain knowledge beyond the rim of themselves before they even master themselves. How foolish is that? That's why, you know, I think about it. I've been in this walk for 19 years, going on 20. And some of the people, some brothers and sisters that the Creator used me to bring them in, to wake them up. I said that they woke up when I gave them the scriptures, but it confirmed what was already given to them before the Creator used me to give it to them. And Now that they have a little scriptures under their belt, blase blase, they tell me, hey, you don't know nothing. You don't know what you're talking about. And I just shake my head. I'm like, wow, that's like me going to my grandfather, if he was still alive, telling him he don't know nothing. But he the one that gave my father, my mother, life. That's like telling my mother and my father, they don't know nothing. Who gave me life? This is the problem. A lot of us don't know how to be humble, to be able to learn, to be able to grow in knowledge and wisdom. I had to learn this. You know, I had to learn this all the way through and still learning it. That's why I can begin to master a lot of things that I couldn't master in my younger years, because now I come to an understanding of knowing and understanding so that I can conquer and be an overcomer. That's what this is about. But a lot of us, we take this to be something that I got the Creator in my back pocket, that I could just say I'm an Israelite and learn a couple of scriptures here and there and thinking that you're okay. And that's not the way it works. A lot of things that we've been called in that we understand, you're going to pay judgment for that. You're going to be judged for that. It's not saying, oh, I didn't know. That's not the point. Now, in your ignorance, you cannot be held accountable for ignorance. But when you come to an understanding, and when the scriptures bring forth to you the truth of what you don't understand, and you reject it and reject it and reject it and reject it, and you refuse to even look into it, now you're gonna be judged. Judgment is upon your head. You're not escaping that one, family. Okay? So, without no further ado, let's get into part 3. All Israelites are not Israelites. This is part 3. And I'm gonna pick up from last week when I had a discussion with a brother on the channel. Okay? And the brother sat there and said that Deuteronomy 7 verse 1 is a condition about the word when. Okay? But before I get into that, I want to play a video. Okay? And we picking up part 3 on the agenda 2030. Okay? Agenda 2030. The Great Reset. This is what I don't think that a lot of people is going to be ready for. I don't think a lot of people are going to be ready for this. But the Bible says warning comes before destruction. Okay? And when you don't realize that destruction is coming, and you say, well, we've been hearing that for a long time, since we were small. Okay. Everything runs through phases. Okay. Everything runs through phases. And for everything running through a phase, you have to remember that these folks ain't just going to put everything out on the table. I don't know why we think that way. That these folks just gonna put everything on the table just for you to be able to counteract it. Name an enemy that does that besides you and I always speaking things in the power in the air, but we haven't yet put ourselves in a position. We haven't yet put ourselves in the position to be able to know how to unfold the things before our enemies. So we always get trapped because we don't realize that the enemy is among us. We don't believe that. We don't believe that. All right. So let's get into the video. Let me pull it up real quick. I hate when this thing do this. Just give me a second. I don't know why it's not doing what I asked it to do. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me get this right here. I'm gonna go to pull this right here up. All right, I'm gonna pull this one right here up. All right, we're gonna go to fair use, fair use. All right, let me go ahead and pull this music out on down. This is what we have to pay attention to what these folks have up under their sleeves, because they've been always was talking about going into the nation of Iran. Okay? They were always talking about going into the nation of Iran. They were always talking about going into the nation of Iran. And a lot of us, we're not paying attention to anytime when this country goes into a recession, they always have to have what is called a war. And if you wasn't paying close attention to the news or what these people has been placing in front of us, what is it called, a de facto government, the Arms Committee and the Foreign Relations Committee had already given Joe Biden, power to fight Iran, a blanket check. And inside of that arms bill, they're going to draft. Now they'll tell you, nah, that ain't true. That ain't true. Okay. And they say they're going to draft between 22 and 29. And rather if you have a baby or not, they have the power to draft you. And they said that when they draft the 22 to 20, I think 21 to 29 years of age, rather if they have a baby or not, that they're going to impart them in the war. So now they're bringing a bunch of people here and they're giving Biden, your president that you voted for, those who did vote it, the unlimited, unfettered power doing war if Biden ever choose so to what? Carry that war out. That means, family, you won't have an election. Pay attention to the tea leaves. Pay attention to the tea leaves. So let's get it. Let's get into part 3 of the Great Reset. Because that's what they're homing for. They're homing to reset the system to a one global government. And they're moving towards it. Right in your face now. They're not hiding it where you got to try to figure it out now. Nah, that's not how they working now. They working it straight in your face. So let's get it. Fair use, fair use. Up here. Let's skip that.
Year for their agenda. Why is
So let's go.
2030
Let's
such
get
a
it.
big deal for them?
Yeah, well, I think Sam could speak a little bit more to this, but my initial thoughts for me is, they've got a plan. But, if you look at everything, I mean, one of the things that we've discovered as we've been covering to say what narrative they have to push, we resonate
We're going to
with the younger
kind of
generation.
get past this.
Why,
we saw this last
him
week.
being 30, me being 28, we're so
You will be happy. That's
these brothers last
from the horse.
By 2030. Yeah.
Well, they believe in their cars. They take an Uber, but there's got to be some people who own something, and so.
Okay, hold on. Let me go pull up the other one. Hold on, just give me a second. Let me pull this one right here up. It is either. Not the video.
Ready to start eating healthier?
Commercial.
Meet Kachava.
Monetized, so I don't want to put the commercial in my video. Let's go.
Gentlemen, for another YouTube video. Today we have a pretty serious topic to discuss. We're going to be talking about a global debt crisis, and we're going to be talking about the Great Reset. And I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on all of this, what brings it about, and how we end up with a kind of one world currency and everything in between. Is perhaps what the yield curve predicting, this Great Reset? Potentially. In my opinion, the Great Reset happens with the failing of the bond market. For those of you that don't know how a fiat system works, a fiat system is basically a debt-based system. You have the fiat that is essentially borrowed into existence, and that's the asset. And there's a liability behind that, which is, in most cases, bonds in the form of treasuries, government bonds, and other such things. And right now, most of the Western world has a higher debt to debt than payoff.
We didn't occur it. You didn't occur it. So where did it come from? We're going to get into that. Maybe not today, but that's coming. Let's go.
That debt. And this is unsustainable. In my opinion, in our lifetime, it could be a year down the line, 2 years down the line, perhaps what the yield curve is predicting. We have the steepest yield curve inversion that we've had for 40 plus years. The bond market has been in a 40 plus year bull market that may have ended with the events of COVID. It could happen in that kind of a time period, or it could happen 5-10 years down the line. One thing that I am certain of, though, is that it will happen. And actually, maybe this is all somewhat planned. Now, that is speculation. However, I do think this is an inevitability. And what we're going to do in this video is look at the global reset, why I believe it has everything to do with the bond market and bonds failing, and why actually bonds are the perfectly positioned thing to ignite a global world currency and a global reset onto a new system. We've always...
Oh boy. What did this thing just do?
said it's almost divine intervention that Bitcoin came about in 2008. And I would like to think that it came about for positive reasons and there's no alternative motive behind it. I think the many benefits to the founder of Bitcoin being anonymous, but one of the real downsides is we don't know who it was or who they were and what was potentially behind it. And the divine intervention part really comes in with the fact that in 2008, it was quite apparent that the
All right. I guess Stream y'all wants to act up today. Listen, I'll bring the video back up, but I don't want to waste too much time on the video about the global reset. I'm gonna bring it back up before I close out today. I might just bring that up at the end because somehow it's acting up. So let's get into the next part. Is this what I really want to get into? Let's get into the point, something that was brought up. Like I say, we're talking about proving that the Creator gives us conditions. The only condition that the Creator gives us is life or death. Okay? That's the only scripture that he gives us is life or death. Let's grab that scripture where Moses said, life and death is in the power of the tongue. See, life and death is in the power of the tongue. The Creator don't give you anything else. He don't give you anything else. He only give you life, or he only give you death. That's what he sat before you. He didn't sit anything else before you. He only sat life or death. See, some of y'all think that y'all can sit in the middle. Ain't no middle. Proverbs 18:21 says, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Huh? Death and life is in the power of the what? Tongue. And those who love it will eat its fruits. So what you think it means? Those who love what? Those who love what? Life or death. It ain't no in between life and death. Either you love life or either you love what? Death. And if you love life, you're going to eat the fruit of life. And if you love death, you're going to eat the fruit of death. So now let's look at the scripture of when the Bible says he proved you or he's giving you conditions. Israel was only given conditions, and the whole earth was pretty much was given conditions. Living man was given conditions to either live or die. There was nothing else in between that you would go sit in the middle ground and somehow you will come back in the game later on to be able to get your stuff together. You ain't got but one life, family. And that's why the scripture says, life and death is in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat the fruit thereof. And Moses even said, choose life. So when the conditions is to see whether or not if you're going to do it. No, let's go. Let's get into Proverbs 17, verse 39. Not 39, 17, verse 3, and then we're going to jump to verse. We're going to 17, chapter 3. I'm going to talk about 7. I'm just all, hold on. Oh, this thing, hold on. I kind of add something to it. Proverbs 17 and 3. Excuse me, let's get into that real quick. Proverbs 17 and 3. Because we have to remember that if the Creator's given us conditions, why? That's like he pleads with you. Pleading with you don't mean, oh, please, baby, please. That's not pleading with you. I'm about to show you. Proverbs the 17th chapter, verse 3. Let's go ahead and grab it. Let's see what it says. This is what it says here. The fining pot is for silver, and the furnace for gold. But the Creator trieth the heart. Now look at that word trieth. So you're telling me that word means he's trying to see what you're going to do? Is that what that means? We go to the blue letter. That's the word trieth is the Hebrew number 974. Let's look that up. Let's look up Hebrew number 974. And that Hebrew number 974 is the word bakan. Bakan. That word means bakan. It means to examine, scrutinize, test, try to prove. So the thing is, you say, see, no, that's test. No. That word test means to scrutinize. Because when you're scrutinizing something, you're testing it. Okay? Let's do the definition. Let's pull up the definition for scrutinize. Let's do that. Let's do that real quick. Scrutinize. Because we have to be. What you got?
The definition of scrutinize means to examine or inspect closely and thoroughly.
So in 17, it says he is examining and inspecting you thoroughly. That ain't no condition. I'm about to prove it to you. That's not a condition for him. That's for you. Because the Creator already know what you're going to do anyhow. That's why he told Moses in Deuteronomy, the 31 chapter, verse 15 and 16. When Joshua and Moses was in the tent of the meeting, and the cloud came down and told Moses, you're getting ready to go sleep with your fathers. But these people are going to go whoring after the nations around them. They're going to go among them and serve their gods. So now all of a sudden, we are saying he's examining you thoroughly. He's testing you. He's trying to figure you out. Why the creator have to figure you out when he created you? He's pretty much telling Moses what's about to happen when he died. Let's go to Judges, the 7th chapter. Let's see what the scrutinizing is. Judges, the 7th chapter, verse 1 through 6. Because we try to say, oh, these are conditions. No, this ain't no condition for the creator. These are conditions for you. Rather if you want to live or rather if you want to die. Let's go. And we're going to tie all this into the Canaanites. Then Jerubbaal, who is Gideon, and all the people that were with him rose up early and pitched beside a well of Harod, so that the host of the Midianites were on the north side of them by the hill of Moreh in the valley. And the Creator said unto Gideon, the people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands. In other words, it's too many of you all to fight. It's too many. I thought you're strong in numbers. Let's keep going. Lest Israel vault themselves against me, saying, my own hand has saved me. You know what he was saying? It's too many niggas. And some of them niggas is arrogant. Some of them niggas are selfless. Some of these jokers have the purpose within themselves to think it's about them. That's what he's saying. So when they go up to the Midianites and they defeat the Midianites, they're going to promote themselves. See, it ain't about the creator no more. I just sat there and told you, Deuteronomy 31, 15, and 16. They're going to go a-whoring. And it's going to always be about them. Let's go to verse 3. Verse 3. Now, go ahead. What you got?
I can read it.
Go ahead.
Okay, verse 3. Now, therefore, go to, proclaim in the ears of the people, saying, whosoever is fearful and afraid, let him return and depart early from Mount Gilead. And there returned of the people 22,000, and there remained 10,000.
Now look, 20, 23, 23, 20, and what is 22,000 left Gideon. Do you know how many people that was? And there remained 10,000. Now I want y'all to peep the game. So that sounds like a whole bunch of peel up because it's like they got rid of the niggas, right? Now let's keep going. Verse 4 says what?
And the Creator said unto Gideon, the people are yet too many.
He said what?
The people are yet too many.
So you got rid of 22,000 down to 10,000, and the Creator still telling Gideon, you still got too many people. Keep going.
Bring them down unto the water, and I will try them for thee there.
He said he's going to try them. We just sat there and said scrutinize. He's going to scrutinize them. He's going to examine them thoroughly. Is he going to examine them? Nah, he's letting Gideon do it. But he's giving Gideon instructions. Let's keep going. What you got?
And it shall be that of whom I say unto thee, this shall go with thee, the same shall go with thee, and of whomsoever I say unto thee, this shall not go with thee, the same shall not go.
So is that a command or is that a condition? Is that a command or a condition? That sounds like a command. Go ahead. What you got?
Oh, I was gonna say. I mean, he's making a. Well, I guess you could say he's making a command because he's telling who he picked. That's who it is, and who he don't pick, they're not gonna go. So that's an order.
That's an order. That's not a condition. That's an order. He's scrutinizing Israel before Gideon. And it's up to Gideon to choose life or death, not the creator. That's why he says he don't have no respect of person when it comes to his judgments. He's going to lay everything before your face. He's going to tell you the game plan. He's going to tell you rather not if you turn left or right. He's going to tell you rather not you need to go back, you need to stop, you need to either kneel, you need to do. He's going to give you the game plan. He's going to give you the format. But it's up to you to follow it. It ain't got nothing to do with him. Watch this. Let's read the next verse. What you got, sis?
Verse 5. So he brought down the people unto the water, and the Creator said unto Gideon, everyone that lappeth of the water with his tongue, as a dog lappeth, he shalt thou set by himself. Likewise, everyone that boweth down upon his knee to drink.
Go ahead.
And the number of them that lappeth, putting their hand to their mouth, were 300 men. But all the rest of the people bowed down upon their knees to drink water.
So now you got another separation. Now you have another separation within that 10,000. Now you have a smaller number. Okay, go ahead. Read the next verse, sis.
And the Creator said unto Gideon, by the 300 men that lappeth will I save you, and deliver the Midianites into thy hand. And let all the other people go, every man unto his place.
In other words, you take 300 that I'm telling you to take, and you send back the rest of them. Go tell them to go back home. Is that a command or is that a condition?
Command.
That's a command. The Creator's giving him the game plan. He gave him the blueprint. Gideon did not have to follow it. But if he didn't follow it, if death was his judgment. It ain't no in between like, oh, well, I think like Saul, I choose what I want to save. And then what happened to Saul? Death. Angry. Not being able to rest. That's judgment. When the Creator told Saul to kill everything, what Saul did, he chose to keep what he thought was good. And death came on Saul. That's why the Spirit of the Creator removed the anointing from him. But we don't believe that. So let's go. Keep reading, sis.
Okay. Verse 7. Oh, no, sorry, verse 8. Okay. So the people took victuals into their hand, and their trumpets And he sent all the rest of Israel, every man unto his tent, and retaineth those 300 men. And the host of Midian was beneath him in the valley.
Okay, go. So he's taking the 300 with him, and everybody else went home. He scrutinized Israel before their face. It was up to Gideon. Now, hold on, stop. So Gideon sent the 10,000 back home. But what if the 10,000 say, man, the hell with you, I'm still coming to fight? Then what you think would have happened? Some of you would have been out of place. Then you would have caused a bigger mess than was supposed to have been. See, that's what I'm saying. A lot of you are doing things because you want to do it, not because you was mandated to do it. So he's scrutinizing Israel before Gideon. And it was up to Gideon to heed to what was the scrutiny. Let's go to the next one, Isaiah 48:10. Let's read that one. Because the Creator gonna scrutinize you. That's why Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter, he says the word when. That's a command. Because I could say to my son, when you get to the store, this is what I want. That, that is not a condition. That's a command. Now, my son don't have to get it. He can get whatever he could get what he thought. He could think what he want or what I want when he get to the store. That's cool. But when he get home, his judgment is he's going to hear me, and he's going to have to deal with me because he didn't do what I asked him. Because that was no condition of what he thought. I gave him specific order. Yes.
So if the Creator did this with Gideon, then, and there's nothing new under the sun, so how come Israel today, is not heeding to the separations that the Creator is doing? It's like we're accepting everybody.
And I'm going to show you why. We're going to get into that. That's a very good question. I want you to hold on to that question, but I'm going to kind of just elaborate on it just a little bit. The reason why is because we chose death. And today we are continuing to choose death, and I'm going to prove it.
Could that be the generational curse for the disobedience of our ancestors, or?
Well, remember what the scripture says. Until you are what? Destroyed. No man will be able to redeem you or save you. And it meant that. Why would a Creator save you from your doings, your destructions? The same way he gave Gideon order, he's giving you order today.
Right.
But we think that, no, that's when they was in the land. Oh, no, bruh. He said, if my people who I call by my name will humble themselves, that's anywhere you go. Captivity or not. You must obey the name of the Creator that was placed in you. And the condition, and what we think the condition is, what the brother said, the condition, the order is rather if you want to live or die. You can say that's a condition. You can say that's a condition. Well, call it what you want to call it, but that ain't no condition to me. A condition is something that I have a choice in. I don't have a choice to live or die because, see, sooner or later you're going to die anyhow. But it ain't talking about death physically. only choice you have is to be in the presence of the Creator or be in your own presence and die. That's it. And he's giving you generations to correct it. So through generations, he's scrutinizing you. Because everybody in your family ain't going to want to hear what you're talking about. So are you going to try to pull a whole family? Or are you going to let a lot of them jokers go? After when you done try to talk to them. And you realize they laughing like dogs, but they ain't really doing what men do. They've been affected by the Kool-Aid. Are you going to continue to try to push and pump that Kool-Aid from out of them? Because some of that Kool-Aid comes straight up to their mouth when you see them pushing it out, and them jokers will wake up and suck that Kool-Aid right back down their esophagus. And what you going to do? You going to keep trying to fight that Kool-Aid out of them? Now let them jokers die. What you got?
So our attachment is going to be our downfall if we're not careful.
Bingo. And that's why he showed Gideon that some of these people are attached to too much stuff. They will bring you down. Don't make a difference if they're Israel or not. They will bring you down just by the way they think and by the actions that they possess and promote. So you got to be careful who you be around, rather if they are part of your nation or not. That's the scrutinism. Let's go to the next one. Watch this. Let's go to Isaiah 48 and 10.
(41 and 10), right?
Yes, 48 and 10.
Oh, 48?
Yeah, 48 and 10.
Oh, I'm sorry, I put 41. Okay, 48 and 10. So that's almost like you were saying about broad is the road that leads to destruction.
Correct.
So we sit here and think because there's so many that's great and powerful, but that's not always the case.
No, that's not the case for the Creator, because the Creator don't need a whole bunch of people. For what? How did Israel defeat Goliath? The army of Israel ran from Goliath. It was one brother, David, who put a rock between his forehead and cut off his head. He didn't need everybody. For what? Why? But we try to bring everybody. Oh, man, that's my brother. Well, let us stay your brother. You'll die with him. Let's go Isaiah 48 and 10. What it says? What you got, sis?
It says, behold, I have redefined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction.
He refined you. Refined. Let's go to the Hebrew number in the blue letter. Let's go to 6884. Let's go to that word. Let's see what refined means. That word is tough. It's taraf. Saraf. That's what the word saraf means, to refine, to smelt. SMELT. To smelt. What that means? To smelt something. Can I get 2 Tylenols, please?
Yes. It means extract from its ore by a process involving heating and melting.
So now something is being abstract. He said he's going to, behold, I have abstracted things from you.
So he's taking out the impurities.
Well, thank you. And what you think the impurities are?
Your own desires.
No, he's taking your desires from you. No, he's not.
Oh,
he's not doing it. See, we think that the Creator's doing it. The Creator's not doing it. This is something you got to do. He's telling you what you need to do.
So it's like you have to do a reflection of yourself.
Bingo. See, when the creator gives you the playbook, you have to reflect this thing with you. He's giving you the victory of how you're going to win. He's showing you the play. But are you willing to follow the play? Or are you willing to follow your desires? So in order for me to be successful, sometimes you got to see yourself. What is around me that is causing me not to move right? What is around me that is causing me not to think right, to feel right? What is around me? And you got to be able to know how to refine yourself, how to pull the abstract. Remember, he just showed Gideon. All the people, them 22,000 people you got, that ain't nothing. It's too many. Then he dropped it to 10,000. He's saying, guess what? That still ain't nothing. It's too many. He had to pull it all the way down to 300. How many of us can pull people and pull things away from us that is going to cause us to be out of balance with the creator and even ourselves? See, we think the creator is going to refine us. Nuh-uh. You have to refine you. And I'm going to prove that. I'm going to prove it. Let's go to Exodus. Well, no. Let's go to Isaiah 10, verse 21. Isaiah 10 and 21. To prove that. Excuse me. I had to take $2,000. Isaiah 10 and 21. Let's stay right there. Isaiah, let's go to the 10th chapter. And let's go down to verse 21. And this is what it says. The remnant. Well, I'm going to start at verse 20. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel and such as are escaped out of the house of Jacob shall no more again stay upon him that smote him, but shall stay upon the Creator, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. The remnant shall return, even if the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty Creator. What do you mean by that? 22. And for though thy people Israel be the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. The consumption decree shall overflow with what? Righteousness. Why only a remnant is going to return, even though we are like the sand of the sea? You got a lot of people, you got a lot of these camps going around the world trying to get every nation in and say, oh, you Israel, oh, you Israel, oh, you Israel, oh, you Israel. But only a remnant going to return. Why all of Israel's not going to return? Because they can't scrutinize themselves. That's why. They don't know how to refine themselves. They don't. They cannot refine themselves.
It's because they're in too deep, or they're just not willing to really admit and let go of a lot of things that's hindering the growth.
Correct. It's hindering them. So this is how we bring up narratives. We promote narratives. Just to be able to what? Continue our story. But you haven't yet scrutinized yourself. You haven't scrutinized yourself. to be able to make an adjustment. Let's go to Exodus 16:4. Let's go to the next one. Because trieth, refine, and now we're on the word prove. Exodus 16:4. These ain't no conditions. These are commands.
Okay. It says, then said the Creator unto Moses, behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no.
So now that's a condition? Is that a condition? He wanted to see them if they're gonna do right or not. He already know. But what is he telling Moses?
I guess so he could see for himself.
Yeah, he's telling the leader, because remember, I keep telling you, he's giving you the play. And when you see the play, you already know who's on board and who's not. But a lot of us, we ain't trying to see the play.
Because of the attachment. So
trying to see the play. Go ahead.
So a distinction has to be made.
Why?
Because it could be a matter of life or death. Just
for
like
who?
For Israel, for you.
Mm-hmm.
For the individual. But just like you were saying with Solomon, that's why he lost his anointing, because he refused. He knew what he should have did, but he chose to do the latter. So that's what happened.
That's right. It's not so much that the Creator is putting conditions on the table for you. He's showing you the play. And as a person who's supposed to be what they say today, woke or rising up, you're supposed to pay attention to the play. Because the play don't supposed to catch you by God. It don't supposed to catch you off guard. The Creator already gave you the play. But the question is, am I paying attention to what the Creator said the play is, or am I looking for a play on my own? Let's go to one more. Exodus 16. I already did that one. That's what Exodus 16:4. Yeah, that word is nashar. It means to test, to try, to tempt, or assay. A-S-S-A-Y. Let's pull that word up. Assay. Let's pull that word up. And what Brother Trey said, he said he was asserting his authority over people and letting them know that they should listen to him, to his word, or there will be consequences. Correct. That is very correct, Brother Trey. He was telling them that y'all need to listen to the Creator we need to listen to the Creator's word, or there will be consequences. There was no middle ground in that. What you got, sis?
Can you give me that spelling one more time?
A-S. Hold on, let me look at it again. A-S-S-A-Y.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, y'all could y'all in the chat, y'all could define this too. Define A-S-S-A-Y.
Okay, so it says the testing of a metal or ore to determine its ingredients and quality. An attempt.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you're investigating something.
Oh, so do the Creator need to investigate you to see whether or not if you're going to do what he asks you to do?
The Creator already knows.
So why he's telling you to assay means to investigate.
Well, he was telling Moses to do that. So it's almost
Why?
like scrutinize.
Right, you're scrutinizing the people. You have to investigate. You have to see who's on board and who ain't on board.
Right.
So when somebody show their true colors, you can't be shocked like, oh, I didn't know. That don't fly in the face of the Creator. That don't fly. You were supposed to have did the investigation. You were supposed to have did the scrutinizing. That was up to you. When the Creator told Joshua, when y'all get into that land, that was Joshua who was supposed to have been doing the scrutinizing. That was Joshua as the leader who was supposed to already knew the play that everybody ain't going to be on board to do the righteous thing. And when you see them people who ain't on board, you're supposed to eliminate them. Because Reuben and the half tribe of Manasseh, when they crossed over into the river, they did not even want to fight on the other side of the river with the other tribes. They got lazy. You can read that story for yourself. Then when everything was over, what did they do? They built the altar opposing the altar over there on the other side of the river. And Joshua and the rest of the tribes had to get fighting men to cross that river to darn near about to eradicate them. But then they had to tell Joshua, no, this ain't against you all. It's for our children to know that we have something to do with the Creator too, because we are separated by the river. Because anything that you choose, anything that you allow to be on the other side of the play, the Creator going to pull His presence from you. Period. There is no in between. You either choosing life or you choosing death. And if you allow somebody to stop the play that you supposed to be playing, you can't get mad at the person who stopped you. You have to get mad at yourself, because guess what? Judgment ain't going to stop simply because you allowed it. You allow somebody else in your circle that didn't supposed to be there. You allow others around you to interrupt what you're supposed to be doing. Judgment ain't going to stop. Judgment ain't going to stop, baby. Judgment ain't going to stop, family. No. Judgment is going to keep marching on, because the command has already been given. The command has already been given. So let's go to Proverbs 28 and 13. Let's see what that command was. See, because you got to know you. You got to know you. Proverbs 28 and 13. See, you can't come and say, oh, I didn't know. There's no excuses. The Creator ain't looking for no excuse. Either you did it or you didn't. Which one? Either you wanted to do it or you had a different agenda. Which one? It says, he that covereth his sins shall not. Go ahead, sis.
Oh, it says, he that covereth his sins shall not prosper, but whosoever confesseth and forsaketh them shall have mercy.
So what that mean? What it means to not prosper? Means you ain't gonna have no money?
No, meaning that it's almost like if you can't admit your wrongs or admit the issue or the problem, then you're trying to cover it up. But that's not going to do any good, because who are you hiding your sins from? You can't hide from the Creator.
No, he already know.
And can you truly hide from yourself?
No, because you know what you're about to do before you did it. Because you think about it.
Right. So it's like own up to it. How they say, man up.
Man, that's right. Man up. You got to own up to what you're doing, what you're thinking. The Creator already told Moses that these people are going to go a whoring. So when they go a whoring, what you think gonna happen? He already gave you a command that you don't supposed to be doing this. But we don't believe that. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's go to Judges 2:22. Judges 2:22. Remember the Exodus word was what? Nashah. And Judges 2:22 is the same word. Nashah. And it means to what? The testing of metal. I say. So 22 said that through them I may what? Test Israel. Or I may assay Israel. Meaning that I'm seeing which one of you gonna confess your sins. I'm saying that's what Judges 2:22 is talking about. Because notice what he says at the end of 22, as their fathers did not keep it or not. I'm seeing if these folks are going to do what they're supposed to do. I'm not worried because I already know most of them ain't. But I'm seeing which one is the remnant. Which one of them going to come through that fire? Which one of them going to confess their sins? Which of them want to live? Because I already know many of them want to die. Because they're not trying to what? Scrutinize nothing about themselves or anything around them. I already know this. This is what the Creator's saying. This is on you. That's right, brother Trace say taking accountability. That is very correct. Taking accountability. So he was telling, so when he said, when you going into the land, this is what you're supposed to do. You have to be accountable, rather if you want to live in the inheritance that was given to you, or you want to die in it. That's on you. But he gave Israel the playbook. This is what you need to do. Don't let none of them that's living breathe. Kill every last one of them. This is what he said. That's a command. So it was up to Israel, rather if Israel want to live or Israel want to die. There was no in between in that. So now let's go to Matthew, the 10th chapter, verse 4. Either you're going to be blessed or you're going to be cursed. Matthew the 10th chapter, verse 4, it says, Simeon, the Canaanite, and Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. We're going to look at Simeon, the Canaanite. So some people say, oh, well, Canaanite means zealot. That's in the blue letter, and that's in some writings and this and that. And zealot means the behavior of Simeon, because he was a person that he was very zealous at keeping the laws and the statutes and the commandments, and he was just all this. And Zealots were also a political party, so don't forget that either. The Zealots was a political party, just like the Essenes, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the Essenes. Don't forget about that. Don't forget about that. So they say that, oh no, Simeon, that word Canaanite means zealot or zealot. Okay, so now let's go to the next one. Let's go to Mark 3:18. So let's put on the table that the word Canaan means, the Canaanite means a zealot. Mark, the 3rd chapter, verse 18.
I got it.
Go ahead.
Okay, Mark 3:18. And Andrew and Philip and Bartholomew. Okay. And Matthew and Thomas and James, the son of Alphaeus.
Yeah, Alphaeus.
And Thaddeus and Simon the Canaanite.
Now, hold on. Why they didn't say the same thing about any of the other people, other disciples? They just say Simon the Zealot or the Canaanite. So why are they using the word Canaanite in Matthew and in Mark? Some people say, oh, well, that's the King James Bible. Okay. All right. So now let's look at something real quick. Let's look at Galilee. Galilee belonged to what tribe? What tribe do Galilee belong to? What tribe out of Israel got the land Galilee? Well, let's look at it. Let's look at a short video of your One West camp, IUIC. Let me put this up. Hold on, just give me a minute. Let me pull this up. Pull up the right way. Fair use, fair use. This is not my material. This is for criticism, constructive criticism purposes only under the Fair Use Act of 1976. All right. I don't own none of this material. This is for teaching purposes only. Okay. Fair use, fair use. All right. Let me grab it. Here we go. So let's see who IUIC said who the land Galilee was given to. Here we go. Okay. Let's see if they're correct. All right. So let's go. Let me turn it up.
Chapter 4, verse 15. The land of Zebulun. So Zebulun is one of the tribes of Israel. Read. In the land of Naphtali. That's another tribe of Israel. Look, read. By the way of the sea beyond Jordan. Read. Pay attention, Mark. By the way of the sea beyond Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. The sea. So if you look on a map, it's a sea of Galilee. And you had Zebulun, you had Naphtali, and what was the other tribe? You had Asher around there. You had Zebulun, Naphtali. Those are tribes of Israel. But what did it call them? Galilee of the what? Of the Gentiles. Galilee of the Gentiles. So why is it calling Israelite tribes Gentiles, Mark? See, that's the problem, because the Israelites were scattered. Real quick.
Now, let's hear it again. I want y'all to hear it again before I go in. Let's hear it again one more time.
Matthew chapter 4, verse 15. The land of Zebulun. So Zebulun is one of the tribes of Israel. Read. In the land of Naphtali. That's another tribe of Israel. Look, read. By the way of the sea beyond Jordan. Read. Pay attention, Mark. By the way of the sea beyond Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. The sea. So if you look on a map, it's a sea of Galilee. And you had Zebulun, you had Naphtali, and what was the other tribe? You had Asher around there. You had Zebulun, Naphtali. Those are tribes of Israel. But what did it call them? Galilee of the what? Of the Gentiles. Galilee of the Gentiles. So why is it calling Israelite tribes Gentiles, Mark? See, that's the problem, because the Israelites were scattered. Real quick.
I'm not perfect.
So he's saying that the Gentiles were the name of Israel. They were called Gentiles because they were scattered. Okay, this is what he said. These are his own words. That they were scattered. Okay. Now, Naphtali was given the west part of Galilee. Asher was given the land near Galilee. Okay, it was near. It wasn't in Galilee, but it was near. And Issachar was given the south part where the water was, where the river was of Galilee. Okay. Now, they're correct. That was the land of Zebulun, Issachar, Naphtali, and Asher. Okay. They say that, but they were being called Gentiles. No, they were not. But that was their land. But they were not the Gentiles in the land. Okay. Galilee of the nations. Why would your land have a clause on it that reflects others more so than you? Why was Galilee not the land of Israel? Because here's why. Let's go to 1 Kings, the 9th chapter, verse 10 through 13. See, when you get into the history of the land, you have to get into the history of why it was called the land of the nations. Why? Let's get it. Let's get it. 1 Kings, the 9th chapter, verse 10 through 13. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to ask a question. See, because a lot of us, we just talk. But let's grab the scripture and let's see why it was called the land of the Gentiles. Okay? I'm going to start at verse 12. And Hiram came out of Tyre to see the cities of Solomon had given him, and they pleased him not. Okay? They pleased him not. He was not even pleased with the cities, but let's go back up to verse 10 of verse 9. I just want to read that first. Solomon gave Tyre cities, but let's see how many cities he gave them. And they shall answer, because they forsook the Creator, their power, who brought forth their fathers out of the land of Egypt, and have taken hold upon other gods, and have worshipped them and served them before. Therefore, the Creator brought upon them all this evil. So now what's taking place? Israel didn't want to sit there Deuteronomy 31, 15, and 16. I'm going to keep going into that. Deuteronomy 31, 15, and 16. They went a-whoring, the nation of Israel. Verse 9 says it. Let me read it again. And they shall answer, because they forsook the Creator, their power, who brought forth their fathers out of the land of Egypt, and have taken hold upon other what? Gods, and have worshipped them and served them. Therefore has the Creator brought upon them all this evil. Verse 10, and it came to pass at the end of 20 years, when Solomon had built two houses, the house of the Creator and the house and the king's house, meaning you had the temple and you had the king palace. Verse 11, now Hiram, the king of Tyre, had furnished Solomon with cedar trees, with fir trees, with gold, according to all his desires. That then King Solomon gave Hiram 20 cities in the land of Galilee. He gave him 20 cities. 20 cities in Galilee, family. Who is Tyre? Tyre are the Phoenicians. Who are the Phoenicians? Canaanites. So hold on. Hold up. Hold on. So Solomon is giving the Phoenicians, who are a part of the Canaanites, territory? And verse 12, and Hiram came out from Tyre to see the cities which Solomon had given him. Hold on. He came from out of Tyre to see the cities that Solomon gave him in Israel's territory. And it says and he wasn't pleased. That don't mean he didn't take them. That's like somebody could give you a gift and you take it, but that don't mean you were pleased with it. You're going to show your displeasure. He wasn't pleased with the city. He wasn't pleased with those 20 cities that was given to him. Them cities look beneath him. He was pretty much, these cities are beneath me, man. What are you doing? But that don't mean he didn't take them. Because watch this. Let's keep going. Verse 13. And he said, what cities are these which thou hast given me, my brother? What these cities are? And he called them the land of Kabul unto this day. Kabul. That's where they get the name Kabul from, in Afghanistan, the capital of Afghanistan. Peep the gameplay and watch the play. Peep the game and watch the play. Verse 14. And Hiram sent the king 60 talents of gold. So he gave Solomon some more gold. Verse 15. And this is the reason why levy. This is the reason of the levy which King Solomon raised for to build the house of the Creator, and his own house, and Milo, and the wall of Jerusalem, and Hazar, and Megiddo, and Gezer. For Pharaoh, king of Egypt, had gone up and taken Gezer, and burned it with fire, and slain the Canaanites. He slain the Canaanites that dwelt in the city, and given it for a present unto his daughter, Solomon's wife. So Egypt came in and took that area where the Canaanites were. I just told you that the Canaanites were there, but he took Gezer. But what about the other places where the Canaanites were? Megiddo, Hazar, They were even dwelling in Jerusalem. Milo. But let's keep going. And Solomon built Gezer and Bethroon, the Nether, and Balath, and Tadmor in the wilderness in the land, and all the cities of store that Solomon had, and the cities for his chariots, and the cities for his horsemen, and that which Solomon desired to build in Jerusalem, and in Lebanon, and in all the land of his dominion, meaning his territory. Every place he had, he wanted to build. And all the people that were left of the who? Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Same people that we saw in Deuteronomy, the 18th chapter, no, the 20th chapter, verse 17. And the same people that was in Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter, verse 1. Calling them out again right here in 1 Kings. And all the people that were left of the Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and the Jebusites, which were not of the children of Israel. Pay attention to that. These people occupy those lands. Verse 21, their children that were left after them in the land, those are the ones who were occupying those spaces that Solomon built. Whom the children of Israel also were not able utterly to destroy. Upon those did Solomon levy a tribute of bondservice unto this day. He gave them work in those cities that we just called out. Verse 22, but of the children of Israel did Solomon make no bondmen. He didn't give them servitude. Bondsman means, we say, oh, that's slavery. Nah, that just simply means you're working. You're an employee. You are an employee under that system. So Solomon didn't make the children of Israel an employer under the law, but he made the Canaanites an employee under the law. But they were men of war, and his servants, and his princes, and his captains, and rulers of his chariots, and his horsemen. So what's taking place? Solomon got these people in high positions. These were the chiefs of the officers that were over Solomon's work. 550, which bear rule over the people that wrought in the work. So he put foreigners who's supposed to have been dead, he put them over the people who didn't want to work. Notice that. He gave them power. He gave them power. Let's keep going. So Solomon was giving the Canaanites king 20 cities. He gave them 20 cities. And then he put the Canaanite children that were left in the top authority positions. Tyrians are the Canaanites. And so some of you say, like the brother said last week, why we can't use them since we disobeyed. So now let me ask you a question. If a law went out and said, if they catch you with $1 in your pocket, you're going to jail. But somehow you got $1 in your pocket and they see the $1 in your pocket, but they don't take you to jail. So you continue to use the $1. And sooner or later, you're going to what? You're going to begin to think, oh, it's cool. I guess we cool. They cool with me. But think could be setting you up to see exactly where you're getting your money from. So Solomon gave the Canaanites 20 cities in Galilee of Israel's territory. When was that land that the Canaanites came in on Galilee given back to the Israelites? I'm waiting for that question to be answered. When did those nations that belong to Israel regain back those 20 cities that Solomon gave to the Canaanites? I want to know this. Because, see, a lot of us, we believe that they was given the land back because you see some of them in the New Testament. We're going to talk about that in a second, too. Solomon gave them 20 cities. And then he put these people in high-ranking positions. The same way his father, David, had a Hittite who was called Uriah in high-ranking position. What you got, sis?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I don't think they ever got it back.
They never got the land back. They never got those cities back. So now the Canaanites living in your cities with authority under King Solomon. I want you to think about that. Chew on that real slow like you chewing ice. And you swallowing cold water. Give you a brain freeze. He gave the Canaanites 20 cities and then put them in authority in high positions for himself. Let's keep going. Let's go to Genesis, the 34th chapter. I'm going to milk this slow. Genesis, the 34th chapter. When did Israel gain back the lands that was given to the Canaanites by Solomon? Because before this, Galilee was never called the land of the nations, because that was Israel's land by inheritance. So let's go. Genesis, the 34th chapter. This is what it says.
We started the first verse.
Go ahead. What you got?
Which verse are we starting?
Start at first verse. Start at verse 1.
Okay.
Verse
it
1.
Says, and Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. And when Shem, the son of Amor, the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and defiled her. And his soul clave.
So hold on, sis.
Okay. Okay.
You got it on speaker. And Hamor, the Hivite, that's a Canaanite, prince of the country. So this dude, Shechem, the son of Hamor, he was a prince. So we're dealing with the Canaanites when the 12 tribes was in the land with Jacob. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead and finish. Start back. Finish reading verse 2.
Okay. And his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob. And he loved the damsel, and spake kindly unto the damsel. And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah, his daughter. Now his sons were with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they were come. And Hamor, the father of Shem, went out unto Jacob to commune with him.
So hold on, stop right there. So what's taking place? The son done raped the daughter of Jacob. Jacob heard about it. All of Jacob's sons is out in the field doing what they're supposed to do as their responsibility. Hamor, Shechem, went to his father and said, I got to have this woman. Okay? He realized she was a virgin. He had fun with her. Now he want to be with her. So now the father of Shechem, which is who? Haram. I think that's Haram. That is his name. Let me make sure. Yeah, Hamor. Go meet Jacob. A Canaanite going to meet an Israelite. Father on father. To be able to convince Jacob that allow his son to marry his daughter. Let's go. Let's keep it going. Let's go.
Verse 7. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it, and the men were grieved, and they were very wroth, because he had wrongfully folly in Israel, in lying with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not to be done.
So in other words, it was wrong for another nation to be with an Israelite, and an Israelite to be with another nation. Go ahead. But notice the sons were mad when they heard about this. See, Jacob already knew that if his sons come and hear about it, they're going to stop their work. So Jacob waited till they finished their work. And then he told them when they came out of the field. But go ahead.
And Hamor communed with them, saying, the soul of my son Shechem, longeth for your daughter. I pray you give her him to wife, and make ye marriages with us.
Go ahead.
And give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you. And ye shall dwell with us, and the land shall be forever you. Dwell and trade ye therein, and get you possessions therein.
Isn't that something that they want you to look what he says, and make marriages with us, and give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you. You shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you, meaning you could go anywhere you want to go. You notice they had a system already there. It was a system in the land of Canaan. It was a system already in that land. And the Canaanites set that system up. Watch this. And you shall go before you, dwell and trade therein. They already had trading going on, family. That's not nothing new. And get you possessions therein. You could go and get all kinds of possessions here. But notice, he didn't even realize, or he did realize, he was talking to the landowners anyhow. But they wanted the landowners to make a covenant with them. Go ahead, sis. What you got?
I was just going to say, I feel that he already knew what their standards and their customs were, but he did what he wanted to do because he desired Jacob's daughter. So he didn't care as long as he got what he wanted. Now he want to try to make it seem like we can, put all that past and we can, mingle and intertwine marriages and different things like that. So he already had an agenda plan.
Correct.
Correct.
He already had an agenda plan. And ain't no telling how, ain't no telling, because Dinah, she went among the other nations, women. And that's when she got caught up. That's when she got caught up. In other words, you can see that verse 1. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. So she went outside of her gates to other gates. And that's when she got in trouble. That's when she got in trouble, family. When she went outside of her gates. And that's what happened to a lot of sisters. They go outside of their gates and get caught up with men that ain't of them. And we ain't talking about no white man and black woman. We talk about Negro woman and Negro man. And she got caught up because the Canaanites were Negroes. They were swarthy. They were melanated. Sometimes when you want to be in places, those places are a trap to you. We want to hang out with people. Sometimes that be a trap. Let's go ahead, sis. Let's finish it up. Verse 12. You start back at 11, verse 12.
And Shem said unto her father and unto her brethren, let me find grace in your eyes, and what ye shall say unto me I will give. Ask me never so much dowry and gift, and
Dowry.
I will. Oh, dowry.
Ask me never so much dowry and gift. That's a payment for his daughter. Go ahead.
Okay. And I will give according as ye shall say unto me, but give me the damsel to wife.
So he's saying, look, whatever money you want, whatever you want, I'm gonna give it to you. Go ahead.
And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor, his father, deceitfully, and said, because ye have defiled Dinah their sister. And they said unto
now real quick, why did it say they answered deceitfully?
Because they probably didn't have any intentions of upholding whatever agreement they was going to make.
But why?
Because it wasn't their custom to marry outside of their own nation.
But not just that, it's another reason too.
Payback?
No.
What they did to his daughter? I mean,
sometimes payback can be involved in it, but deceitfully right there was talking about, it says they answered him deceitfully, meaning they were angry. They were upset. So anytime when you make a decision while you are emotional, that's not your real intentions. That's not your real intentions. That's why it says a wise man will think before he answer. And right here, they're not thinking. They were deceitfully. They were angry. They were upset. But go ahead, verse 14.
And they said unto them, we cannot do this thing, to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us.
See, right there, they was looking at one situation. Look, man, they weren't looking at they were Canaanites. They were saying, man, look, you ain't circumcised. See, a lot of times when you're angry, you only going to pay attention and focus on one thing. That's deceitfully. That's why you have to sit back and you have to think about certain things before you answer and before you open your mouth. Go ahead, verse 15.
But in this will we consent unto you, if ye will be as we be, that every male of you be circumcised.
Go ahead.
Then will we give our daughters unto you, and we will take your daughters to us, and we will dwell with you, and we will become one people.
See, they were talking about one. Who else said that one thing? Nebuchadnezzar. Who else said that one thing? Nimrod. See, anytime when they tell you we want to be one, pay attention to that. Go ahead, sis.
But if ye will not hearken unto us to be circumcised, then will we take our daughter and we will be gone. And their words
separate. Go ahead. Keep on.
And their words pleased Amar and Shechem, Amar's son. And the young man deferred not to do the thing, because he had delight in Jacob's daughter, and he was more honorable than all the house of his father.
So he was trustworthy. But go ahead.
And Amar and Shechem, his son, came unto the gate of their city, and communed with the men of their city, saying, these people are peaceable with us. Therefore, let them dwell in the land and trade therein for the land. Behold, it is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters to us for wives, and let us give our daughters. Only herein will the men consent unto us to dwell with us, to be one people, if every male among us be circumcised as they are circumcised.
So they was willing to do anything they can to become one with Israel, and for Israel to become one with them. Okay? Every man has to be circumcised. That was the gameplay. That was the play that Israel put on the table. So they wanted every man to be as one with them. So they was willing to do anything they can to go ahead on to get these people out of, to mix these people up with them. Go ahead.
Verse 23. Shall not their cattle and their substance and every beast of theirs be ours? Only let us consent unto them, and they will dwell with us.
Mm-hmm.
And unto Amar and unto Shechem his son hearkened all that went out of the gate of his city, and went out of the gates of his city, and every male was circumcised, all that went out of the gate of his city.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass on the third day, when they were sore, that two of the sons of Jacob, Simon and Levi, Dinah's brother, took each man his sword, and came upon the city boldly, and slew all the males.
So he came upon the city and slew all the men. Okay, go ahead.
And they slew Amar and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house, and went out.
So you mean to tell me Dinah was there in the house of Shechem? What's going on? So she was still in the house with Shechem. And they took him out of the house. He slew every man in the city. Go ahead.
And the sons of Jacob came upon the slain and spoiled the city, because they had defiled their sister.
So they defiled and spoiled the city. Go ahead.
They took their sheep and their oxen and their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field.
So they took all their stuff. Keep going.
And all their wealth, and all their little ones and their wives took they captive, and spoiled even all that was in the house.
Now look at that, how Jack. So they took the children and their wives as captives. Look at that now. So now what are they gonna do with the children?
Put them in, make them slaves.
Okay, they made them slaves. Now think about that. Now they made the Canaanites in that particular city slaves to them. The same thing with Solomon did, made them slaves. Okay, this right here, Jacob's rim, was that before the law did not let none of them live? No, that law was before Jacob. So right here, they broke the law again. When they took their wives and their children, they broke the law again. Watch, let's keep going. Let's get go ahead, finish it up. Verse 30, 31.
And Jacob said to Simon and Levi, ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and I being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I will be destroyed, I and my house. And they said, should he deal with our sister as with an harlot?
So in other words, notice he only called the Canaanites and Perizzites. He didn't call it the Jebusites. He didn't call it the Hittites. He didn't call it the other 5 nations. He only called out 2, Canaanites and the Perizzites, because that's who was in that city. So he says, and he says, should he deal with our sister as with an harlot? Meaning, do you think this man was going to treat your sisters like a whore? For you have done what you did? This is Jacob. Now let's go over to Genesis, the 24th chapter. Let's run back to that one. Because the law to kill them was already in play. This is not a new law. We're not going to read this whole thing. We're just going to read some of it. Let's start at verse 1.
And Abraham was old and well stricken in age. And the Creator said, blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, that ruled over all that he had, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and I will make thee swear by the Creator, the power of heaven, and the of heaven,
the power of the earth,
and the power of the earth,
that
thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanite, among whom I dwell.
He said Canaanites with an S, among whom I dwell, meaning none of those 7 nations. Do not mess with them. Make sure you get a what? A wife for who? My son. Verse 4 says what?
But thou shalt go unto my country and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac.
So he's telling him to go among his people. Abraham knew. So how in the world Jacob didn't know? How Jacob did not know?
He did know.
See, it's what we want to be scrutinized about. Rather, if we want to be a part of, or we want to be able to what? Separate. Watch this. Where's that law to kill, that they must be killed, according to Deuteronomy 20? Pull that up real quick before we get there. Deuteronomy, the 20th chapter. We're going to start at verse 16 through 18. Where is this law? Why is he treating the Canaanites like this? Where is that law that Israel must kill everything that's breathing? The Creator's being unfair. He's being unfair. Why is he being unfair to these people? We just read that these people were nice and kind, and they wanted to become one people. They wanted to mix and mingle with us. We take their daughters and wives, and they take our daughters and wives. We just have a flip around game. Flipperoo. That's what we having. Deuteronomy 30, starting at verse, we're going to start at verse 15, and we're going to read down to 18. I'll read it.
Okay, 30 and start at 15.
Start at 15, we're going to read to 18.
Okay. See, I have set before thee this day life and good and death and evil. In that I command thee this day to love the Creator, thy power, to walk in his ways and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply.
Where you
at? You said 30, right?
Deuteronomy, the 20th chapter.
Oh, I thought you said 30.
No, Deuteronomy 20, starting at verse 15.
Oh, goodness. Okay, Salakia, I have it. Thus saith thou, do unto all the cities which are very far off from thee, which are not of the cities of these nations, but of the cities of these people, which the Creator thy power doeth give thee, for an inheritance. Thou shalt save alive nothing that breatheth.
So he said, nothing that breathes, you need to save alive. Nothing. That's the first thing we need to understand. Nothing should be saving alive that is breathing. Keep going. Watch this.
But thou shalt utterly destroy them, namely the Hittites and the Amorites, the Canaanites and the Perizzites, the Hivites and the Jebusites, as the Creator thy power hath commanded thee.
So he's calling these same 7 nations out, which are part of Ham's descendants. Okay, go ahead, verse 18.
That they teach you not to do after all their abominations, which they have done unto their powers, so should ye sin against the Creator your power.
Go ahead.
When thou shalt besiege a city a long time, in making war against it, to take it, thou shalt not destroy the trees thereof by forcing an axe against them. For thou
Go ahead.
For thou mayest eat of them, and thou shalt not cut them down. For the tree of the field is man's life, to employ them in the siege.
So these trees going to keep you alive by producing fruits for you. Go ahead.
Only the trees which thou knowest that thou be not trees for meat, thou shalt destroy and cut them down, and thou shalt build bulwarks against the city that maketh war with thee until it be subdued.
So he's giving you the play. Now, rather if you're going to follow the play or not, that's on you. Because if you choose to do something else, then death comes to you. So now he's telling you these people must die. Everything that's breathing shall die. Must die. Everything that's breathing, nothing save nothing alive, save alive nothing that breatheth, meaning everything that's there needs to die. Now let's go to the book of let's go to the book of Jubilees. Let's see where this law came from. Let's see where this law came from. Is this just a law that the Creator brought up because he's unfair? Nah, just kill the Canaanites because I don't like them. Nah, because they serve other gods other than me. Just kill them. Is that what he was talking about? No, because remember when Abraham went to the land, who did he see there? Jubilees, the 10th chapter. We're going to start at verse 27. Who did he see there? He saw the Canaanites. When Jacob was in the land, who was there? The Canaanites. When the 12 tribes went back after Egypt, leaving the captivity of Egypt, who was there? The Canaanites. They didn't kill them all. Who did King David have in his military? The Canaanites. Who did King Solomon employ within his own region? The Canaanites. So the Canaanites is just all over the place, ain't it? Nobody doing nothing with the Canaanites. They just all over the place. This is who the Canaanites are. They just all over the place. You got it, sis?
It's still pulling up. Well, I think I got it. Okay, chapter 10.
Verse 27 through 29.
Okay, 27. In the 4th week, in the 1st year, in the beginning thereof, in the 4th and 13th Jubilee, where they dispersed from the land of Shinar. And Ham and his sons went into the land which he was to occupy, which he acquired as his portion in the land.
So now, stop right there. Stop right there. What's happening is, this is talking about not after the flood. This is talking about after the captivity of Nimrod. Okay? This is talking about the captivity after Nimrod, when all the nations went among themselves and was dispersed across the earth. Everybody went back to their inheritance that was given to them. Okay? This is what's going on. Go ahead.
To occupy, which he acquired as his portion in the land of the south. And Canaan saw the land of Lebanon to the river of Egypt, that it was very good. And he went not into the land of his inheritance to the west, that is to the sea. And he dwelt in the land of Lebanon eastward and westward from the border of Jordan and from the border of the sea. And Ham, his father, and Cush, and Mizraim, his brothers, said to him, You have settled in a land which is not yours, and which did not fall to us by lot. Do not do so, for if you do so, you and your sons will fall in the land and be accursed through sedition. For by sedition, right there.
I don't know what's going on with your mic, but you sound like you in the closet or something. But what's going on is Canaan saw a beautiful land. And when he saw a beautiful land, he went and occupied it, even though his father Ham told him, or his father Mizraim told him not to do so. And now his father's warning him that if you do so and you continue to stay in this land, you're going to fall. You're going to fall. But let's see what that law is, family. Let's see what that law is. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish picking up, sis.
A curse through sedition. For by sedition you have settled.
Back up, and you just pick right where you left off at. Back up a little bit and read.
Okay, verse 30.
Yeah.
Okay. And Ham, his father, and Cush, and Mizraim, his brothers, said to him, you have settled in a land which is not yours, and which did not fall to us by lot. Do not do so, for if you do so, you and your sons will fall in the land and be accursed through sedition. And for by sedition you have settled, and by sedition will your children fall, and you shall be rooted out forever.
So he's telling him that you're never going to have peace in that land. You're going to be rooted out until every part of you is gone, because that land don't belong to you. See, a lot of us don't even realize the pact that was made between the three brothers. And Ham was telling his son, look, man, that land over there don't belong to you. I know it's beautiful and it's rich, but we made a pact. You don't belong in that land. But they wanted to, but the Canaanites went there anyhow. Go ahead, finish it up, sis. You finish?
Did you want me to stop at 30? You want me to?
What verse you on?
Well, I just finished 30.
Okay, go ahead. Finish up. That's why they say that's the name. That's why the land was called Canaan?
Oh, no, that's 34. So go there. Okay. Verse 31.
Yeah.
Dwell not in the dwelling of Shem, for to Shem and to his sons did it come by their lot. Cursed are you, and cursed shall you be beyond all the sons of Noah, by the curse by which were bound ourselves by an oath in the presence of the Kodesh judge, and in the presence of Noah our father. But he did not listen to them, and dwelt in the land of Lebanon from Hamath to the entering of Egypt, he and his sons until this day. And for this reason, the land is named Canaan.
So he didn't care about what none of his family told him to do. He was worrying about what he wanted and how he wanted it. And this is the reason why the Canaanites were cursed according to Noah. When he said, cursed be Canaan. He was cursed because he took land that did not belong to him. And when the rightful owners went back to the land that belonged to them, guess who was there? The Canaanites. That was the Canaanites. Sister Latari said, the scripture speaks of the strangers that sojourn among you. It seems like they were made to keep laws too if they were to dwell amongst Israel. Do you think those strangers were the Canaanites? Wait, coming from, well, if the strangers wanted to keep the laws like in Abraham's house, those strangers had to abide according to Abraham's law, the law that was given to Abraham, the law that was given to Abraham by Shem and Noah from the Creator. So any stranger that wants to come around you, is just like right now, if the strangers wanted to connect with us on the Sabbath, they can. but they're not allowed in positions of authority over you, nor over any of your family. They can't do that. Yeah, they're not the only ones that they cannot rule over you. They're not. Solomon was wrong to put them in authority, just like David was wrong to put Uriah as his captain. They're not to be that high up over you. They always is to be subservient. That means when Uriah was a captain, who was he in charge of? Israel? So when Solomon put him in power over all those positions, who was he in charge of? I'm quite sure there were some Israelites that was in those positions. They are never to be rulership over you. So even though we allow some of them to live, our ancestors allow some of them to live, they were never was to be put in authority over any Israelite. They cannot even be inside of your temples. They have to be on the outskirts. They have to separate themselves when the Sabbath comes in order to hear the law. Let's go to Numbers 33, 55 and 56. Yeah, Brother Marcus brings out these scriptures all the time. Me and Brother Marcus be breaking bread all the time. And we goes into these scriptures. Numbers 33, 55 and 56.
But if ye will not drive out,
we have to realize what the scriptures is. Go ahead, sis. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted me to go ahead and read. But if ye will not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then it shall come to pass that those which ye let remain of them shall be pricks in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and shall vex you in the land wherein ye dwell. Moreover, it shall come to pass that I shall do unto you as I thought to do unto them.
So what's taking place right there? What's taking place in that verse, sis?
I guess meaning that you're going to kind of reap what you sow. I guess meaning that they're going to be a pain for you forever for what was done or what wasn't done.
Right. Yeah, the Creator said He's going to turn the sword on you now. Meaning He's going to allow your enemy to defeat you. Sister say, I agree. I believe Israel with Israel only. And the scripture I'm speaking of in my second comment is the scripture that speaks of Canaan being in the wrong land. They don't talk about that scripture. Correct, they don't. A lot of people don't talk about that scripture. A lot of people do not talk about that. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't talk about that. But they were not the strangers that was to dwell among you. Not the Canaanites. The Canaanites were not the strangers that was to dwell among you. The Canaanites were supposed to be put to death. They weren't supposed to be alive at all. they were supposed to have been dead. But like the sister just read, they're going to be a prick in your eyes and a thorn in your side. And the Creator going to take the sword that He put on them and now turn that thing on you. Because you allow whoever that the Creator told to die, you allow them to live. So now judgment is upon you now as a nation. And because we have peace in the land doesn't mean peace gonna always stay. Because if you go back to Genesis 9:27, read Genesis 9, go back, pull up Genesis 9:27, sis. And then we're going to get into Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter, verse 16 and 17. Genesis 9:26 and 27. Because this right here will answer your question right here, sis, what Noah prophesied. Because the Creator gave Noah the prophecy. And then when Israel didn't agree, when they didn't follow through with the prophecy, that's why you have 9:27. Go ahead, what you got?
26. And he said, blessed be the Creator, the power of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. The Creator shall enlarge Japheth.
Stop right there. Stop right there. Stop right there. I keep telling you, got me on echo. When you see right there that Canaan is going to be Israel's servant, it's telling you straight up that Israel wasn't going to destroy Canaan. Noah was prophesied. I keep saying, like I said at the beginning, the Creator give you the play. But the problem is, are we going to play the game that the Creator gave us? Or are we going to play outside that game and it's going to destroy us? He already gave you the play. You either live or you die. So now, since we didn't destroy the Canaanites, guess what? Now the Canaanites dwell among us. Now, okay, so now you're going to put them to work. This is what Noah's telling the Israelites. You're going to put them to work. And guess what? For you not, what did he say? I'm going to turn the sword on you now. In fact, go back to Numbers 33 and 56. Read that again. Numbers 33 and 56. And then we're going to jump over to Deuteronomy 7th chapter. Because they didn't kill the Canaanites and all the seed line of the Canaanites. The Creator said, okay, since you didn't do that, I'm going to turn everything on you now. The sword that was supposed to be for them is now going to be for you. The judgment that was on them is now going to be on you because you chose death. You didn't follow the play. You went against the play, and this is what the play got you. What you got? You got it, sis? Numbers 33:56.
Yes. Moreover, it shall come to pass that I shall do unto you as I thought to do unto them.
See, as he thought to do unto them. The thought that he had for you to do that to them, you didn't do it. So now it's going to be done to you. That's the play now. The play is now you going to get, now Israel's seed line is going to get put to death. Israel's seed line is going to get put to death. That's the play now. And that's why remnant going to come out. Not all Israel may come out, but only a remnant going to be saved. That's the play. Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter, verse 16 and 17. That's the play now. Because, see, they stole your land. They took your land. They set your land up, changed the name of the land, and call it after themselves. That's the law of sedition. You can never be forgiven that land. You see all the people come across that border of the south border? That's sedition. So now what happens today? They just stay here and live off the land freely? Them folks over there in that fake Jerusalem, that's sedition. That is sedition. So what you do with that? They living off the land, eating peaches and greens and all that stuff. These folks come over here and jump on your back, the things that your people went through. They jump on top of that and catapult off your back and your problems and jump over you and become over you. That's sedition. What you do with that? Nobody was given an inheritance. Everybody was given an inheritance. But why everybody coming up around you in America? Ain't nobody going to Africa. Who going to Africa? You? Me? Us, we, they. Now Africans coming over here. Everybody's creating and everybody's got sedition. And that's the reason why they got to put sedition in your mind to make you think you come from someplace else. That's why we hear those politicians say all of us are immigrants except the indigenous people. And then when they show you the indigenous people, they show you those people over there on the reservations. They're not indigenous. They are in sedition too. But they got the actual landowners in the mindset of sedition. So when everybody get punished by the creator, you're going to get punished by just thinking you come from someplace else. Because you can't defend or pray for your ancestors when you are in sedition yourself. How do you do it? But what you got, sis?
Deuteronomy 7, which verse?
Verse 16 to 17.
16 to 17. And thou shalt consume all the people which the Creator thy power shall deliver thee. Thine eyes shall have no pity upon them, neither shalt thou serve their powers, for that will be a snare unto thee. If thou shalt say in thy heart,
read that again because I broke up in my ear. I don't know if it broke up on the channel, but it broke up in my ear. Just read that verse again, please.
Set my phone. Okay. And thou shalt consume all the people which the Creator thy power shall deliver thee. Thine eyes shall have no pity upon them, neither shall thou serve their powers, for that will be a snare unto thee. If thou shalt say in thy heart, these nations have more than I, how can I dispose them?
See, so you're looking at these nations greater than you. That's the reason why a lot of us, we can't separate from these people. And we don't have what is called, what we talked about at the beginning, we can't scrutinize these people because we can't scrutinize ourselves. And the reason why we can't scrutinize ourselves is because we are looking at these nations being greater than who we are today. That's why we want to try to assimilate with them all the time. That's why we want to assimilate with them in everything we do. We need their approval for anything we got going on. But they ain't your land. But you don't believe that this is your land because they done told you that you come in on a slave ship. This is what they believe. Let's go to Judges, the 2nd chapter, verse 3 and 4. Judges, the 2nd chapter, verse 3 and 4. They got the sword that they were supposed to get turned on you. And now you are being cut down by the very sword by the way they got you thinking. They got you thinking, oh, I come from someplace else. So let's go to Judges, the 2nd chapter, verse 3 and 4. Let's ride on that real quick. See, they got you thinking that you come from someplace else. This is what it says. And you shall make no league with them, with the inhabitants of this land. You shall throw down their altars, but you have not obeyed my voice. Why have you done this? See, we were supposed to get rid of everything dealing with these people. Everything. That is not where I have a decision in that. That was a command. But either you want to live or you want to die. That's the only decision you have. But see, when I was coming up, anybody that I didn't have no understanding. I was ignorant. Anybody that looked like me, got like me, and live among me, I believe that those were my people. I believe all black people is the same people. All black folks are not the same. I'm just using the word black just for the day. But all melanated people, all in Tonton people are not the same people. That's why when they was coming up back in the days, they kept close proximity at who come among you. They knew everybody in the community. They knew the families. Now you don't know nobody. And now everybody can smile in your face. And you think that they're your same people. So the Creator asked them, why have you done this? Verse 3, wherefore I also said, I will not drive them out before you. He's not going to do that no more. The Creator's not going to give you the power to drive these people out. He's not going to do it. That's not going to be done. But they shall be as thorns in your sides. That's a judgment. And their God shall be a snare unto you. That is your judgment. You chose death. You chose death. So now, what you say? You say, I tell so-called black Americans all the time, everyone is positioning themselves around them while they are walking around not caring. The whole world has to have so-called blackness but hate the people. That's true. That's true. And then you say, I heard immigrants. Hold on, let me put this up. You say, I heard an immigrant say that so-called black don't know where they come from, yet they follow and copy everything so-called black people do. And that's true. Remember the scripture in Isaiah? Let's pull that up. Isaiah 1. Let's pull out Isaiah, the first chapter. And we're going to read down. Watch this and see. And what you just said, sis, I'm going to pull up. I'm going to bring it through the scriptures. We don't know. We don't know where we come from. And this is a vision. This is a vision of Isaiah, the son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, king of Judah. And it's still relevant today. Hear, O heaven, and give ear, O earth. For the Creator hath spoken, I have nourished and brought up a children, and they have rebelled against me. An ox knows his owner, and an ass his master crib. But Israel do not know, my people do not consider. Why do we not consider where we come from? Because we're so busy listening to foreigners. Foreigners telling us who we are. That's why we can't tell the difference between the faces. Smiling faces, sometimes they don't tell the truth. See? Because we look at people's skin tone. Oh, he keeping the law. She keeping the law, so she our people. Huh? My grandma and my grandfather never told me about those people over there. So now we don't know who we come from, where we come from. That's why a lot of us are mixed up and messed up right now. Because our people are mixed in with these foreigners around us. It ain't just the pale man. I'm talking about the so-called melanated people are not, some of these melanated people around you are not your people. But some of us, we don't take time out to even talk to our own elders. I was told this week by a brother that the elders are the people that follow the law. It ain't none of his people in his family. I'm like, wow. So you're just going to disrespect your elders even though they don't believe what you believe, but they still your elders, brother. That's where you come from. That's the bloodline that the Creator allowed you to flow from. But we'll still disrespect these people. So now going to the next point, the Samaritans. Who are the Samaritans? We say, oh no, the Samaritans were the Israelites. The Samaritans were a mixed population, the same way like the Galileans. They were a mixed population. But see, we'll say, oh no, see, the Samaritans, that was Israel in Samaria. Okay. Let's go to 2 Kings. Let's go to 2 Kings 17, 18, 17th chapter, verse 18. Let's ride on that real quick. Because my question still it hasn't been answered yet. When did Israel that was in the land of Galilee gain back the land of Galilee? Once when they were taken off it. 2 Kings, the 17th chapter. I need to see the chapter and I need to see the verse of who brought them back on that land. We're going to start at verse 18. And then we're going to read down. I'm going to start at verse 17. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire and used divination and enchantment and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Creator, to provoke him to anger. Verse 18, therefore the Creator was very angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. So hold on. The whole 10 tribes, what we call the northern nation, was gone. He removed them by the Assyrians. Verse 19, and Judah kept not the commandments of the Creator of their power, but walked in the statutes of Israel, which they made. And the Creator rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them and delivered them into the hands of spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight. So both nations were wicked. Both nations were wicked. Verse 21, for he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king. And Jeroboam drave Israel from following the Creator and made them sin a great sin. So Israel's now, the northern kingdom is now following Jeroboam. And he made them sin a what? Drave or a grave sin. Verse 22, for the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did. They departed not from them. See, they had an opportunity to leave it, but they didn't leave it. Why? Because we love wickedness. Verse 23, until the Creator removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants, the prophets. See, in other words, if the prophet ain't saying it, it ain't coming to pass. So was Israel carried away out of their sight, their own land, to Assyria unto this day. That's why Isaiah 11 and 11 is in place. Isaiah 10 and Isaiah 11 and 10 and 11. He's going to come a second time to bring these people from out of Assyria because all the 10 tribes did not leave. And it says, and the king of Assyria brought men from what? Babylon, and from Cuthava, and Ava, and Hamath, and from what? Seraphim, and placed them in the cities of where? Samaria, instead of the children of Israel. And they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. The same way Solomon gave 20 cities to Canaanite. Now the king of Assyria given these cities to these nations. And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling there that they feared not the Creator before the Creator sent lions among them, which slew some of them. And I know a lot of you know these stories, but let's keep going. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria, now know not the manners of the creator of the power of this land. Therefore, he has sent his lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manners of the power of this land. Verse 27. Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom you brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let him teach them the manner of the power of the land. Verse 28. Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria come and dwell in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear the Creator. Howbeit every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the houses of the high places which the Samaritans had made, every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt. And the men of Babylon made Sukkoth, and it gets into their gods. It gets into their gods, and I'm gonna go on further down. It gets into, they made Sukkopith, Sukkobinath, and the men of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Hamath made Ashama, and the Hivites made Nibaz, and Tartak, and the Seravites burnt their children in the fire of Adrimelech, and Adrimelech, and Amalek, the gods of the Seraphim. I can't pronounce that, so I don't hold me to these pronunciations. So they fear the Creator, and made unto themselves the lowest of them priests of the high places, which sacrifice for them in the houses of the high places. They fear the Creator and serve their own gods, after the manner of the nations whom they carried away from thence. See, so in other words, what took place? Why did the priests come back to show them how to live on the land? Why not just allow them to be destroyed? It's the same way we bring people up among us to teach them our culture. So now they know your culture, now they can rule you. Now they know your language, now they know how to deceive you and curse you. This is what was taking place. When did Samaria relinquish the land to give back to the 10 tribes? Give me chapter and verse. I don't think I know everything. Maybe you could teach me something now. Show me where Galilee was given back to Zebulun, Asher, and all them people. And show me where Samaria was given back to the other nation, to the other 10 tribes. Because we're talking about Simeon the Canaanite. Because Israel dwelt among the Canaanites all the time since they've been in the land. When did they ever stop? And now the Canaanites are up amongst you. You got some of the Canaanites in your positions of power. These are marked people. And they sitting and ruling over you. And that's why you got Japheth, Genesis 9:27. And Japheth shall enlarge themselves in the tents of Shem. And the Canaanite shall be his servant now. Because what happened to you? You lost your power. Because you allowed these people up amongst you, inside of you, and married you, and you married them. You took covenants with these people. So now Japheth is in your land as a curse. Japheth is not in this land to bless you. Japheth is here to curse you. And the Canaanites and everybody else going to be a buffer class to keep you underneath their foot. So now when you think that everything is done and over, no. They got you underneath their foot because you refuse to destroy them. So now they're going to be a thorn in your side. You put these people in high places around you and inside of your dwellings. And now they're going to be a thorn in your side. And these people look just like you and I. Zealous was a political movement. So what tribe Simeon was from? Who they say Simon the Canaanite. What tribe he was from? Give me the book, chapter, and verse. Because all they're going to do is give you, he was a zealot, which is a political movement in an attitude of someone who has a zeal towards something. But give me the book, chapter, and verse of what tribe he was from. And the reason why they're not going to give that to you is because it's called mixing and meshing things together. See, they don't want you to realize that when the 10 tribes, when the Assyrian captivity allowed some of the Israelites to go home, you still had those same people in that land because they removed Israel. But when did they remove the Canaanites? Show me where the Assyrians removed the Canaanites that was there. Because I showed you where the Assyrians brought in more Canaanites in Samaria. Solomon gave 20 cities to the Canaanites. Show me when Israel ever went into captivity that the nations besides Egypt who destroyed one of the cities removed the Canaanites from out of the land of Canaan. Show it to me. Give me the verse, book, chapter, and verse. Show me where Israel, the other nations, when they took Israel into captivity, they also took the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Girgashites. They took all of them out the land as well. I need to see that. This is what I need to see. Show me where the nations took the 7 nations out of the land of Israel the same way they took the Israelites. This is where you're going to have a hard time showing this. And you may not. You may have the answer. I don't know. Put it in the chat. Want to come up on the platform? Come up on the platform. As long as it's decorum and respect, you come on up and push it out. But I haven't read it. So when King Cyprus allowed the nation of Israel to go back home, that's why you had those nations there. And it was rebelling against what was taking place of the building of the second temple wall. Because as long as Israel was gone, they was happy. Because they got your land again. And now here it is. The nation of Assyria is allowing you, and the Persians allowing you, the nation of Persians allowing you to go home. Some of you to rebuild. So who was those people that was left there? That was the Samaritans and the Canaanites. That's who was in your land while you were still in Babylon. Some of you still was in Assyria. Some of you even, we gonna talk about that not today, but some of you were still in Egypt. You went back to Egypt. So let's go to Deuteronomy, the 31st chapter, verse 16. We done read that, and I'm gonna read it again. Because I'm gonna drive this home. I'm going to drive it home. Deuteronomy 31. This needs to be driven home. This is what the Creator told Moses. This got to be driven home. I'm going to start at verse 15. And the Creator appeared in the tabernacle in the pillar of the cloud. And the pillar of the cloud stood over the door of the tabernacle. Verse 16, and the Creator said unto Moses, behold, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers. And this place will rise up and go a whoring after what? The gods of the strangers of the land. Whether they go to be among them and will forsake me and break my covenant which I made with them. Now I want you to pay attention to this word right here in verse 16, that word among them. See? They will be among them. This is the key word that we about to get into now. This is where we're going to go at now. Because see, Deuteronomy 31:16 specifically said Israel will be among, meaning what the word among means. The word among means surrounded by, in company of. So let's put it in context. Whether they go and be surrounded by them or in company of them. Huh? So Israel will be surrounded by these nations. And they will go among them, meaning they're going to be in company of them. See, when you are in company of something, this is what causes you to forget what you did. If you forget your purpose. This is what happens. So Israel was among the nations. And so Israel is no longer there. Okay? So let's do this real quick. Let's close. Let me get this video. The siege of Jerusalem. The siege of Jerusalem. Because see, this right here is going to talk about 70 AD. Because we're talking about Israel being among nations, surrounded of the nations. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up. Here we go. Come on. All right, here we go. Hold on. Okay, this one right here. All right, and let's go. Let's get into it. We're going to talk about the siege of Jerusalem. Because see, this gets to, let me go ahead and run this on out. Because I'm leading up to the documentary. Yeah, I got you. I'm about to put it in now. All right, the link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. So let's go. Let's go ahead on. The link is in the chat. Okay. All right. Testing. 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2. Okay. Yeah, I'm good. All right. So let's get into this video right here real quick. The siege of Jerusalem. And this brother's going to bring out some very powerful points that destroyed the 70 AD story. Because last week to prove that Israel went to Egypt. Yeah, I'm gonna prove it in this video. I'm gonna show it to you real quick. All right. So let's go. We're gonna watch this video real quick. And there's gonna be some points that was brought out that a lot of people do not bring out. Okay. All right, so let's go. Fair use. This is under the Copyright Act of 1976. So we're only using this is not my video. We're using this video for teaching purposes only, constructive criticism to build up the truth for our people. Let's go.
Rome's polytheistic religious practices were remarkably tolerant for the time, and throughout the centuries even incorporated many deities of their former enemies. However, the Romans always experienced problems with monotheism. The most prominent monotheistic group in the early Roman Empire were the Jews.
So the thing is, what he said, Rome always had a problem with monotheism religion, meaning a one God. So that means the Catholic religion has more than one God. So if you are an Israelite and you believe in another God sitting next to the Creator, you are in a Roman Catholic religion. I want to play that again. And you can sit there and say, oh, no, that ain't true. Well, let's ride again. Let's go.
But the Romans always experienced problems with monotheism. The most prominent monotheistic group in the early Roman Empire were the Jews.
So he said the Romans always had a problem with dealing with the monotheistic religion because they believed in other gods. So now you have to wonder and ask yourself, where did the God that sits next to the Creator come from? Where did that come from? Okay, so let's ride again. Let's go. Let's keep going.
This enduring people, motivated by their religion, would be a consistent thorn in the side of Roman leaders for centuries.
So the Romans wanted you to be controlled by them. Now I want you to pay attention because Deuteronomy 28:52 is in play. They're going to block all your gates. This is what you need to pay attention to. Because see, Syria took Israel out, Babylon took Israel out, and then the Persians allowed some of the Israelites to go back to rebuild the temple. Now you have some of the Israelites. Now all the Israelites did not go back. Some of them still are locked into captivity till this day. So now you have some of the Israelites going back home, and when they got back home, you see these people. Who are these people? The Samaritans. You say those are Israelites. They were not Israelites. They were a mixed population. That's why they did not bother them. They were Gentiles. Who were the people in Galilee? The Canaanites. The Canaanites were always there. They never went nowhere. But let's keep going.
One of the most infamous episodes of violence between Rome and Judaism would be the Jewish Revolt of 66 to 74 AD, culminating in the capture of Jerusalem and the destruction of the Second Temple. After a rebellion against the declining Seleucid Empire, the Hasmonean dynasty came to power in Judea during 146 BC.
Now, the Seleucid Empire was the Ottoman Empire. Okay, the Ottoman Empire was the Turks. The Turks were Babylon, Persians, and all. That was the Ottoman Empire. But let's keep going.
In 67 BC, two brothers, Hyrcanus and Aristobulus, drove the realm into civil war. To the north, Roman general Pompey had been finishing up the Mithridatic Wars, and in 63 BC thrusted south along the eastern coast of the Mediterranean. Upon his arrival in Damascus, he intervened in the civil war on behalf of Hyrcanus, captured Jerusalem, and eventually made Judea a client kingdom.
So now they got Judea under, Pompeius got Judea under control. He captured Jerusalem and got Judea. And now they're under control. They're making them pay tribute to them. Let's go.
After a brief Parthian occupation, Rome captured the city again in 37 BC and installed their client Herod as king. In 4
So now Rome captured Judea again, and now they're placing Herod, who is an Edomite. Now you tell me, where did the Edomites go after when the revolt happened? Where did the Edomites go? Can you tell me where did the Edomites go? But let's keep going.
He perished, and Judea became a Roman province. Imperial authority in the region leaned heavily on the local elites, but they often lacked the confidence of the wider Jewish population, resulting in near perpetual strife. Throughout the early 1st century, Jewish frustration grew, and they chafed under the Roman boot. This resulted in increasingly violent actions perpetrated by sects such as the infamous Jewish Sicarii.
Now they say Sicarii, tongue twisting. The group Sicarii was a Jewish revolt group who always kept Rome on their feet. But we're gonna get into Sicarii. We're gonna get into Sicarii, not today, but we're gonna get into Sicarii more likely next week. I'm gonna get into Sicarii more likely next week. Okay, all right, but let's keep going. Let's get back into it. Let's get back. Let's go.
Judea was a powder keg, a tangle of class, ethnic, and religious divisions.
Now, why do they have classes, ethnic groups, and different religions? Why did they have that? If it was not a mixed multitude, why did they have? Why was it a powder keg? See, this is where we're going to get in at. Why was Jerusalem in the areas of Israel was a powder keg dealing with ethnic groups, religion? Let him say it for himself, because I don't want to mess up what he's saying. Let's go.
As Jewish Sicarii. Judea was a powder keg, a tangle of class, ethnic, and religious divisions.
Class means different races or different types of people that lives in different sections of the economy. Religion was the different beliefs. And ethnicity dealing with your the ethnicity. I don't want to chop that word up. Let's look up ethnicity real quick. I'm thinking that's dealing with your race, because I always get ethnicity and race mixed. So let's look at that word, ethnicity. Ethnicity is the quality or fact of belonging to a population group or subgroup made up of people who share a common culture, background, or descent. So you're talking about people. This not really, you can put religion there, but religion is not really the thing. They're talking about like a culture. See, and that's why I told you when I was coming up, if you was the same tone as me, they allowed you in the community. They did not look in your background when I was coming up. But before I came up, before I was born, I heard the stories from my grandfather and my grandmother and them that they knew who was in this. They knew the people that was in the community. That's what you call ethnicity. And when they saw somebody who didn't belong in the community, even if they were the same color, they didn't know it. They did not know these people family. They look at them strange. So why did you have that clash of a powder keg in Jerusalem if it was not mixed? Let's go.
In 66 AD, a Greek mob profaned the Caesarea synagogue, and that led to riots among the infuriated Jewish population.
So you mean to tell me the Greeks were still fighting them still? Even when Rome was there, Greeks were still fighting them? Oh, let's keep going.
Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, Roman procurator Gessius Florus chose this inopportune moment to collect overdue taxes. In an unwise move, he did this by plundering 17 talents of silver and gold from the treasury of the Second Temple. Reacting to this, some young and bold Jews mocked Florus by begging for spare change in the name of the apparently poverty-stricken procurator. Infuriated, Florus executed thousands. When he moved to bring in reinforcements, the Jews began to resist. Overwhelmed by the local population, the Roman soldiers retreated to the citadel, and the Great Jewish Revolt began. The members of the radical Jewish sect Sicarii then marched to the fortress of Masada, where they proceeded to overwhelm and massacre the 700-strong garrison. Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, the soldiers who had withdrawn to the palace sued for terms, but were massacred when they tried to surrender their weapons.
Now, don't forget, now in Jerusalem, when they built the temple, you already had mixed multitudes there. When the Persians allowed some of the Israelites to go, that's why Nehemiah and Ezra had a role. And then when they couldn't find a role, they put these people out. You could not be in these positions because you could not find your father's lineage, because a lot of these people were mixed. Let's go. And some of these people learned the ways of Israel. They learned it. Let's go.
The rival Jewish factions united, brutally capturing the fortress of Kypros and securing the surrender of Machaerus. Tensions among the disparate populations erupted as well. Greek mobs would massacre Jews in cities such as Ascalon, Caesarea, and Tyre, while Jewish prowled the region and retaliated.
I thought Greek lost their power, but the Greeks still was there. The Greeks still were putting pain on the Israelites, according to the story. I thought Rome conquered Greek, and Greek just lost their power. But how they still putting pain on the Israelites? So supposedly, let's keep going.
The Roman Empire could not allow such defiance, and the proconsul of Syria, Cestius Gallus, marched south with 30,000 troops. Gallus sought to seize Jerusalem in order to restore order, but the siege failed, and the legions were subsequently ambushed at the Beth Horon Pass as they retreated to the coast. Lightly armed Jewish rebels, wielding javelins, slings, and bows, encircled them and inflicted huge losses. Legio 12 Fulminata was annihilated, the army's siege weapons were captured, and the legionary Aquila Eagle Standard was lost. Gallus's punitive campaign had been a complete catastrophe and emboldened the rebels. To the west, Roman Emperor Nero received word of the revolt in Judea whilst on a concert tour of Greece. Requiring a competent general to take charge and crush the insurrection, Nero appointed a veteran of the British campaign, Titus Flavius Vespasianus, otherwise known as Vespasian, to command the army of Judea. Vespasian immediately set off for Judea, taking the overland route over the Hellespont and through the Great Cilician Gates. After reaching the city of Antioch,
Go to 2 Kings 13 and 15. They said that Israel had swords, arrows, and bows. I'm about to show you who Israel is and where they belong at. Go to 2 Kings 13 and 15. I want you to read this.
Okay. And Elisha said unto him, take bow and arrows. And he took unto him bow and arrows.
So They had bows and arrows. Who had bow and arrows? His brother Big Daddy Smooth TV said, "Do you believe you are a God?" No, I'm a servant to a God. I'm not a God. I'm a servant to the Creator. I'm a servant to the Creator. All right. Emmanuel says, "Shalom, Ark, you still kicking false doctrine." Okay, brother, whatever. And he come back and say, "Sister Latanya, did he answer your question about Canaanites keeping the law?" Y'all showed the law, brother. Y'all answer her question. Could the Canaanites keep the law? The Canaanites were supposed to have been put to death. So how is it that you allow a nation that was supposed to have been put to death by law to keep the law amongst you? How? There was never no retraction from that law. And if there was a retraction from the law, place it in the chat. Where the Creator, Psalms 82. Okay. Psalms 82. What does Psalms 82 verse 6? Pull that up, sis. Pull that up and let's read his thing where the Creator, see if the Creator had redacted us from killing the Canaanites. Or where it says, go ahead, what it says is
Started
Psalms 82 and 6.
82 and 6.
Yeah, 82 and 6.
Okay. I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High.
Okay, now, Brother Emmanuel, what makes you a God? Explain what makes you a God. What makes you a God, Brother Emmanuel? Come on, hold the chat up. Tell me what makes you a God. Because when they say that you are a God, that was talking specific. And that was for a reason. And then it says, and you are all the children of God. So what makes you a God, Brother Emmanuel? Let's see your answer. Since you say I'm still preaching false doctrine, I can tell you didn't know what she was talking about. Read that. See, that's what I'm trying. See what I'm saying? See how people always dodge the question? See how people always dodge the question? See, people always dodge the question by not answering the question. You see what I'm saying? Can the Canaanites keep the law? This what he asked. Can the Canaanite keeps the law? Show me in the Bible where the Creator redacted the killing of the Canaanite nations that took your land. That's a simple question, brother. Let's not keep the chat waiting.
Moray.
Show where the Creator redacted that law. What you saying, sis?
I was going to say for Psalms 86, the word God, it actually refers to like magistrates, judges, and other people who hold positions of authority and rule, not the actual Most High.
So now, so now, are we judges today? Are we in authority or position of rule, or are we slaves? Which one?
We're in captivity.
So if you're in captivity, how are you a God? Because you fall under their law. You fall under their rule. You fall under their jurisdiction. So how are you a God? You only could be a God in your own territory, fam. And you have jurisdiction and prudence over it. That's what makes you a God. You could say in your mind you're a God. You could remind yourself that your people were a God when they were in their own land under the law, but they broke the law. And now others rule their land and their place of prudence. So now how do you break from under that? How do you what makes you a God now? Because you say it? Okay, then go run the red light while the police sitting there and see if the police don't stop you and give you a ticket. And then you can say, well, I go to law, I go to court and I could get that ticket nullified, but you still got a ticket. Break their law and see if you don't go to jail. See? Break their law and see if you don't go to jail. See, a God is a man who's in authority. That's what a God is, a man who's in authority under his own prudence of jurisdiction. So if you ain't under your own prudence of jurisdiction, then tell me how you became a God. You lost that kingship, fam. So now this brother say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He said it doesn't matter what makes you a God. You just said you are not, and scripture says you are. See what I'm saying? See, these type people always read the Bible face value with no content and no context. That's what I'm talking about. And he said the word is he said the word is Elohim, says period. She know what the word meant, and she gave you the definition of that word. Now he talking about learning silence. My wife can talk, brother. My wife can talk, brother. My wife ain't no slave over here. You need to control your house if you got a wife. And they talking about we broke the law. Now we suffer, though always be in captivity with them. Whatever. Let's get back to this video so we can finish up. Because I don't like to listen. I don't like to keep up on ignorance.
Vespasian marched south to Ptolemais, while his son Titus was sent to Alexandria in order to take command of a legion and march it north to join the main army. Meanwhile, reinforcements also arrived from the various local allies and clients. In total, the empire mustered around 60,000 troops to crush the revolt. Prisoners were taken,
so let's hold
and
the video.
entire
Let's hold
opposition villages
so
were
brothers and
reduced
sisters
to
get paid.
ash.
You gotta say something, sis?
I was gonna say you went out for a minute, but you're back.
Okay.
This proved to be effective, as the 10,000-strong Jewish field army quickly scattered in all directions, seeking haven in the fortified strongpoints. In the subsequent campaign into Galilee during 67 AD, Vespasian systematically moved through the region, brutalizing any defiant settlement and often allowing his rapacious legionaries free rein to loot, burn, murder, and pillage as they pleased. Critical settlements defending the region were captured. Jotapata fell to Vespasian first, followed by Joppa, Tiberias, Tarichaea, and Gamala, before his army was finally billeted in its winter quarters, leaving a subdued region in its wake. The fall of Galilee to Vespasian's legionaries prompted more internal strife among the Jewish factions. As the campaigning season of 68 AD began, Vespasian was in no hurry to intervene, stating that since our enemies are busy dying by their own hands, the best course of action would be welcome death.
Now, there was a powder keg that was going on inside of the Jerusalem wall. They were fighting each other and murdering each other. This is what was going on. They were fighting and murdering each other. So Vespasian say, hey, don't worry about getting up in there, bro. No, don't leave that alone. Leave that alone. Leave that alone. Let them finish doing what they're doing. The same thing what you see going around in your community today. Why is it that we have dissension and discord? Because you got a lot of people who call themselves you ain't you, but they are perpetrating as if they are you. This is what their point is. The same way this brother claimed he says he's a God. God just simply means a judge or one who's in authority. Now ask him what authority he's in. Ask him who gave him that authority. And who gave him that authority? Can that authority be taken back? Meaning, he'll tell you, no, this brother right here tell you, no, ain't nobody gave me no authority. God gave me authority. He's a liar. Ask him, do he have a driver's license in his pocket? Ask him, do he have a social security card in his pocket? Ask him when he was born, was he born in the country in the country of the United States or the corporation of the United States, meaning he became a subject of a slave? Ask him. And this is what I be talking about. We deal with ignorance. And Israel was fighting among themselves. Different factions, different ethnicities, and all this other foolishness. And the army of Rome just sat right on the outside, waiting for them to kill themselves. Let's keep going.
Content to leave Jerusalem to its internal squabbling, the Roman general marched across the mountainous province of Perea and Judea proper, taking almost every settlement of note, one by one, laying waste to the countryside and slaughtering tens of thousands of civilians. The campaigning season of 69 AD began similarly. Dispatching his subordinates to the peripheral regions, Vespasian marched on Jerusalem itself. He established garrisons in the towns that anchored his supply lines to the coast, while the Roman horsemen rode down and destroyed any remaining hostile units in the vicinity of Jerusalem. It seemed like only a miracle could save the rebels from Vespasian's wrath. They would get one very soon.
Now, the thing is, what you got to remember, don't forget about Vespasian. Vespasian, where did his father go? His father went to Africa and built up the general homeland there in Africa. So now, if Vespasian's father went to Africa and built up the homeland, he built up the headquarters there. How did the Jews get out of Jerusalem and fled to Africa like they say in the 70 AD story? How did they do it? So they didn't run into Vespasian's father in the military that was in Africa? So they fled all the way to Africa and to West Africa to get picked up in the transatlantic slave trade. You see how they lie? They are liars. Let's go back a little bit. This is how you know they be lying. That they came on the transatlantic slave trade. Let's go.
As the campaigning season of 68 AD began, Vespasian was in no hurry to intervene, stating that since our enemies are busy dying by their own hands, the best course of action would be to stay as spectators instead of taking on fanatics who welcome death and are already busy murdering each other. Content to leave Jerusalem to its internal squabbling, the Roman general marched across the mountainous province of Perea and Judea proper, taking almost every settlement of note, one by one, laying waste to the countryside and slaughtering tens of thousands of civilians. The campaigning season of 69 AD began similarly. Dispatching his subordinates to the peripheral regions, Vespasian marched on Jerusalem itself. He established garrisons in the towns that anchored his supply lines to the coast, while the Roman horsemen rode down and destroyed any remaining hostile units in the vicinity of Jerusalem. It seemed like only a miracle could save the rebels from Vespasian's wrath. They would get one very soon. Discontent with Emperor Nero's infamous excesses had been building throughout the 60s AD, and now it finally came to a head. Back in March of 68 AD, the provincial governor of Gallia Lugdunensis, Vindex, rebelled against Nero. His revolt was quickly crushed, but it set the tone for the Year of the Four Emperors, as another pretender named Galba was declared emperor and marched on Rome. Deserted by his Praetorian Guard, Nero was forced to commit suicide. Galba did not last long, and a few months later he was usurped by Otho, who subsequently was dethroned by Vitellius. Spiraling defiance of imperial authority also resulted in a Batavian revolt on the Rhine River, and grain supplies to Rome from Africa being cut off. With the empire suddenly in the process of eating itself alive, the campaign into Judea came to a halt, as Vespasian paused to consider his options.
It is now eating itself from the inside out. The same way that the folks behind the wall of Jerusalem is eating themselves inside out. The same now what's going on with the Romans. They eating themselves inside out. Let's keep going.
Finally, on July 1st, 69 AD, Vespasian was proclaimed Caesar by the prefect of Egypt in the presence of his legions.
So now Vespasian, he's Caesar now. Okay, his title became Caesar. And this is 69. We are 1 year away from 70 AD. I want to see where in this story that the so-called Jews flood away and ran into Africa. Let's see if that happened, or let's see if they got stuck in Jerusalem. Let's go.
The Flavian faction, Vespasian, his family, and supporters, then held a war council where their strategy was decided. Vespasian would establish his headquarters in Egypt, while Titus, assisted by Tiberius Alexander, would conclude the campaign of subduing the Jews.
Hold on, Vespasian he set up his council in Egypt. So the Israelites, they went all the way to Egypt, through Egypt, all the way to the west coast of Africa, and Vespasian didn't see him. And his son Titus, who stayed there, that's the one you better pay attention to in the New Testament. That's who Paul was talking to, Titus Vespasian. He was a Flavian. But he was one of Paul's disciples. Oh, we're going to hit that New Testament. Not today. I'm going to hit it next week. And you better be ready, Emmanuel. Let's go.
Titus began the Jerusalem campaign in spring of 70 AD.
So now we're 70 AD. This is the story they always talk about. 70 AD, we fled to Africa. We fled to Africa to 70 AD. 70 AD, we fled to Africa. 70 AD, we fled. Go.
Departing Alexandria and marching up the Mediterranean coast towards Caesarea. The army assembled there was even larger than that commanded by Vespasian in the previous years. At its core were 4 Roman legions: Legio 15 Apollinaris, Legio 5 Macedonica, Legio 10 Fretensis, and Legio 12 Fulminata.
These were countries that he brought in, the military from their countries. Not just the Roman Empire, but from different other countries that Rome was controlling. Let's go.
In addition, 20 cohorts of auxiliary infantry, 8 alae of cavalry, and many thousands of native troops were present.
So what native troops he was talking about? Was he talking about the Canaanites, Emmanuel? Was the Canaanites in that? Was the Canaanites in that? The native troops? Was that the Canaanites? Emmanuel? The Jebusites, the Girgashites? Was that? Was that Edom? Emmanuel? Let's keep going. You see where he says native troops. So who was native other than the Jews, brother? Who? The Samaritans? Who was a mixed breed? The Galileans, that was the other nations that was part of Tyre, that we can see in the book of Joel. Tyre helped carry you away too. Huh? Emmanuel? Which one? The same Canaanites that you said that could keep the law. Emmanuel. Let's keep going.
By the Roman client kings in the region. This was a massive force, totaling around 70,000 troops.
70,000. This is what their story is.
Using the network of garrison strongpoints his father had established, Titus marched straight at the city of Jerusalem by the main road, while
Why he got the same name as the disciple of Paul, Emmanuel? Why? Was that the same man, Titus and Flavius in the New Testament?
sending some other legions on alternative routes to alleviate supply problems. Upon nearing the city, Titus rode ahead with 600 hand-picked horsemen to perform reconnaissance on the city. However, as this force approached the Stephanus Tower, a large force of Jews charged out of the city and cut down many of Titus's men. The commander himself was almost captured, but narrowly managed to escape. Advanced Roman units from Legions 15 and 12 appeared on the hills to the north of the city on April 23rd. During that night, Legio 5 arrived, followed by Titus himself the next morning. The Jews had been preparing for such a siege since the times of Herod, and they had managed to fortify the city considerably. Manning their stations behind Jerusalem's 3 formidable walls, the garrison of the city probably amounted to over 20,000, who still possessed the siege artillery captured at Beth Horon. Many of the Jews defending the city had lost their...
Ready?
All right, let's get the commercial up out of here. Let's get the commercial up out of here. Oh, this is good. Because see, we're still in 70 AD. We still in 70 AD. Let's get it back at it.
Families in the previous Roman campaigns and wanted revenge. Despite its population being swollen by refugees, water was not a problem, as to water. However, food stores had been burned in the inter-Judaic strife months before, and the situation was therefore tenuous. This strife was still ongoing, even with the Romans so close, and the defending forces were split into 3 sub-factions. Realizing his newly arrived legions must be exhausted from the night march, Titus gave orders to construct 2 camps to the west of the city, one joint camp for the 12th and 15th legions at a stop 3/4 of a mile west of the city walls, and another camp 600 yards further back for the 5th Legion. Shortly after this, the 10th Legion arrived and was ordered to encamp to the east of the city on the Mount of Olives.
Do that sound like your gates being cut off according to Deuteronomy 28:52? That look like your gates are being cut off, brother. So if your gates are being cut off, I need y'all who believe in the 70 AD New Testament story, show me how you got out. Let's go.
The looming Roman siege temporarily united the squabbling Jewish factions, and they agreed on an immediate attack against the soldiers of the 10th Legion, who were busy constructing their hilltop camp. Sallying out of the city, a detachment of rebels rushed up the slope and cut down droves of legionnaires. Encouraged by this initial success, reinforcements were sent to press the attack, and they managed to drive the men of the 10th Legion from their uncompleted camp. Hearing of their plight, Titus arrived with his cavalry bodyguard and struck the Jews from the flank, driving them back into the ravine between their camp and the city walls. However, they then attacked again instead of retreating. Under this renewed assault, the Romans broke and fled to the heights, leaving their general. Ashamed, and realizing Titus had not fled, the legion regrouped, charged, and prompted the Jews to flee back to the city. The camp on the hill was subsequently finished, though now it was clear that the Jews would not meekly submit to them.
So so everywhere you see that red at, they end up, that's a camp for the Romans. So they cut off the front part of Jerusalem. Now they're cutting off the hillside part of Jerusalem in the back. Whoa. So now I want to see how they got up from the top and the bottom. Let's go.
Aiming to prevent this happening again, Titus posted strong contingents of horse and footmen to the east of the city to deter further sorties, and ordered that the ground between the Roman camps and the city was to be leveled. This would both deny the guerrilla fighters a favorable hiding place and allow siege engines to advance. With this done, Titus decided on concentrating his assault on the western flank of the third wall between Stephanus Tower and the western gate. The 3 legions facing this section of the wall were each ordered to construct an earth and timber ramp. The construction efforts were initially disrupted by sorties out of the city, but the concentration of Roman artillery, including large stone-throwing devices and quick-firing iron bolt-throwing scorpions, pinned the Jews down long enough for the works to be completed. Retaining a steady rain of missiles on the walls, Titus then ordered 3 battering rams to smash the western wall, which were initially unsuccessful until 3 siege towers were brought up to reinforce them. After a long period of pressure, on the 15th day of the siege, Roman siege engines punched a hole through the wall. With their entire force now at risk, the defenders quickly withdrew to the second wall, leaving Titus to occupy the new city.
Out of the city. Titus is on the inside of the city. This was happening. So how, let's see if they escape out the back, because you got the Roman Empire in the backside waiting on them too on the flank. Let's go.
Unwilling to surrender their momentum, the legions immediately moved their rams up to the second wall, where they began to batter the tower gate. After just 4 days of attacks, one of the rams brought it down and made a breach. Legionaries flooded through it into the eerily silent second city. However, as they advanced, rebels sprung, quickly forming into their tight shielded squares. The legions fought their way back to the narrow breach, where many died struggling to push through. Eventually, auxiliary archers arrived and drove the Jews away, allowing the bewildered legionaries to escape. After the Jews resisted in this area for 4 more days, the Romans finally broke through. This time, Titus ordered the entire northern section of the second wall torn down. The defensive front now narrowed, and
so now the wall, the front wall is torn down. So now their defense is gone in the front part. So now they're pushing them further back. And don't forget, right up here where you see at the top where my arrows at, that they can't get out that way because they're going to flank them downward. So now they're getting pushed back further into the wall. Let's go. We about done.
the Jews were able to bring more forces to bear on their enemy. After advancing into the second city, Titus now split his legions into 2 army groups, which each constructed 2 siege ramps. The 10th and 15th legions attacked the first wall opposite the tomb of John Hyrcanus, while the 5th and 12th legions besieged the Antonia fortress, named by Herod the Great in honor of Mark Antony. The ramps were eventually completed on May 29th, followed by an all-out assault, during which Titus brought up additional battering rams and siege engines to assault the Antonia fortress. They did this under constant artillery fire from bolt shooters and stone throwers, which the Jews had taken from Gallus in 66. As the assault began, Jewish sappers dug under the Roman siege lines, undermined the ramps, and set fire to the tunnel. This caused the ground to collapse in on itself in a clattering roar, swallowing the Roman ramps and siege towers, which demoralized the legions, as they had spent weeks constructing these engines. To improve security, tighten the blockade, and restore morale, Titus ordered that
Let me hold it right there. Let me hold it right there. We just about done. We just about done.
that an 8-kilometer-long wall of circumvallation was to be constructed, cutting the besieged sections of Jerusalem off from the outside world. This massive undertaking was typically finished in only 3 days by the Romans and had 13 fortresses along its circumference to strengthen it.
So now he's saying that they built the wall around Jerusalem to keep them jokers from escaping. So first of all, Vespasian went to Africa, because I know I say earlier Vespasian's father, but no, Vespasian went to Africa and set up a headquarters in Egypt. And now his son Titus is sitting right here, collapsing Jerusalem. I'm still puzzled. I'm trying to see how did they get out and fled over into Africa. Let's go.
Before it was made, the Jewish rebels were able to quite easily venture out of the city to forage for food and supplies, but this was now made impossible. Famine.
So he said before they put the wall up, they were easy to get out to venture for food, but now when they put that wall around Jerusalem, it was impossible for them to get out. Let's go, because this is getting interesting.
Quickly descended on the city, and its inhabitants slowly began to starve and die.
So now you got a people that is starving and they're dying because they can't get no food in. So what's going on now? They are in a desperate position. The so-called Jewish people, the Jews are in a desperate position in Jerusalem. Let's go.
This done, Titus now focused all his efforts on conquering the Antonia fortress again. A day of assaults initially yielded no results. However, the Romans had accomplished more than they had realized. The foundations of the Antonia fortress, undermined by heavy rain and the Jewish saboteurs' tunnel, which had destroyed the Roman siege engines, collapsed during the night. The first Romans who exploited this gap discovered to their horror that the Jews had built up a secondary wall behind the first, which was eventually overcome when a contingent of brave legionaries attacked it during a night assault. The first of several battles for the Temple Mount occurred after this, during which the Romans failed to break out onto the forecourt. In its aftermath, Titus ordered the Antonia fortress destroyed. On July 17th, the Romans attempted to seize the temple's courtyard again, but were again repulsed in close quarters fighting, during which the Jews were often wearing captured Roman equipment. This confused the combatants and made friendly fire incidents common. Neither side was able to gain an advantage under these conditions. After the second failure, Titus ordered that 4 siege ramps were to be constructed and used against the northwest corner of the Temple Mount. At the same time, the Jews proved they were not beaten when a major sortie was launched against the siege wall protecting the Mount of Olives, but was repelled. The Jews also abandoned the area of the wall where the Roman siege ramps were mounted. However, they had rigged the area with a fire trap, and this killed many soldiers as they advanced, seemingly unhindered. By August 9th, withering artillery fire and Roman offensives had made the Jewish defense of the courtyard untenable, and they pulled back to the inner defenses of the temple itself. On August 10th, during the heavy fighting, a fire began in apartments near the outer court, which spread and famously set the Second Temple alight, being spread due to the arid conditions and the flammable materials all around. With Jewish attention divided between fighting the fires which blazed through their most holy place and defending against the Romans, they were in an orgy of butchery and looting. With their bloodlust finally sated, the Roman soldiers proclaimed Titus Imperator, victorious general. With this done, the legions were unleashed on the lower city, burning houses, government buildings, archives, and anything else the legions could get their hands on. Clearing this area of rebels took 2 days, and after another short assault, Herod's palace was taken by September 7th. The slaughter during the fall of Jerusalem supposedly resulted in the death of at least hundreds of thousands of civilians, pilgrims, and soldiers. Titus returned to Rome, where his father Vespasian, now the Roman emperor after his victory in 70 AD, granted him a triumph. The Arch of Titus was also dedicated to him, which remains to this day. While a few isolated rebel strongholds remained, notably the Sicarii fortress of Masada, the Jewish revolt had been essentially crushed at Jerusalem. But this was not the end of Jewish resistance, and more wars would be fought between them and the empire. New videos on Roman history.
So I'm excuse me, I'm gonna leave it right there. Me, I want to show how did they get out. But I hope your fingers feel good because I ain't about to post none of that. I ain't about to post none of that. That's foolishness. What you talking? I want to show when did the Israelites get out to be able to flee to Africa. This is the problem. This is the problem. When you hear people that now look what he's saying. He come on my channel calling me the enemy. He talking about listen to the voice of your enemy. Just tell you S, and you feel like it lines up with what you're saying. So you run with it. Sound like how we went into slavery. See how he perpetuates slavery on you? Now, this same Negro, if he's a Negro, because he always hide his face. Half of these folks, I bet you, is mixed. But these same people that tell you that they always bring up this slavery narrative to you. Be careful with these type people, because I'm gonna tell you about these people. These people, this man told you that he's a god. And if he's a god, then ask him, why do a god have a driver's license in his back pocket that goes along with another corporation? Why do he have a birth certificate or a social security card? Why do we have to fill out an application to get a job if he's a god? See, this is the problem that we have with ignorance. This is the problem. This man still think that you can bring the Canaanites and make them your bondsmen. But a death sentence is still upon them for you to eradicate them. And the creator say, well, since you didn't do it, they are throwing in your side forever. That's your judgment. Just because they are throwing in your side doesn't mean you can take them in and allow them to be a part of your group. Or you could teach them the law. So now, watch this. So now, if you teach the Canaanites the law, is that going to save them? If they already been provoked under sedition? See, that's why I told you what the brother's saying is ignorance. And you listen, and most of you listen to fallacies like this. So now when the creator pronounced death on these people and the Israelites chose not to do it, now the creator changes his mind because you chose not to accept what the creator said, and now these people can be saved. This is what he's saying. See, that's what you call a fool. If death was upon these folks because they broke the law of sedition, and you didn't supposed to mix nor mingle with these people, this is what he's saying. See how he come on my channel cussing? See, that's why I told y'all, a lot of these people ain't Israelites. See, a lot of people ain't Israelites. See that? I told you this gonna draw a lot of people. He says salvation is for Israel. No, salvation is for the earth, fool. Salvation is for the earth, dummy. Told you what you be saying is goofy. It's for the earth. It's for the earth. It's for the earth. This what I keep trying to tell y'all. These are some goofy people. And these people, and we sit there and a lot of us follow behind this goofiness. That's the problem. And they push all the goofiness on the table. Oh, you a God because the scripture say you a God. Well, why you got a driver's license? Show me a God that have a driver's license. Can you show me a God that keep a driver's license in his back pocket? Show it to me. Show me a God that has no authority. Show me a God that has no authority. Show me a God that has to go to another people to get permission to do stuff. Show it to me. See now, if you ask that the Rockefellers are they God, they'll tell you yeah, because they control you. Show me a God that cannot control the very nature of his life. Watch this. I'm gonna close out with this scripture right here. Watch this. Let me pull it up real quick. Give me 1 second. This for you, Brother Emmanuel, since you are God. This for you, Brother Emmanuel. This for you, brother. Mr. God. Mr. God, Mr. G-O-D. We're going to go to the book of Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 40. We're going to go to verse, we're going to start at verse, we're going to start at verse 20. Well, let's start at verse 27. Now, in fact, I'm going to start at verse 26 and I'm going to read down for the fake God. It says, riches and strength lift up the heart, but the fear of the Creator is above them both. There is no want in the fear of the Creator, and it redeemeth not to seek help. So we seek help for the Creator because that's who redeem us. Now, verse 27, the fear of the Creator is a fruitful garden. So if I got fear of the Creator, that makes things a fruitful garden, meaning that I can be able to now go and pull from that. But watch this though, and cover him above all glory. That's not saying you're going to actually have a garden. That's just saying that he's not going to allow you to go into what? Both. Okay, watch this. Verse 28. My son, lead not a beggar's life, for better it is to die than to beg. Now watch this. Brother Emmanuel, do you have a job? Did you go and beg somebody for a job? Yes or no, brother? Can you put that in the chat? Did you beg somebody for a job? Did you fill out an application to fill out for a job? Huh? Did you go and acquire for a driver's license, brother? Huh? When you did you ever lose your license and you had to go and reapply for a license, brother? Or any kind of certificate or thing that you got? Did you apply for that, brother? Through another corporation? Did you do that, brother? Yes or no? Now watch, family. He ain't gonna answer that. He gonna run because he's a coward. But he gonna post all kind of foolishness. See, this why I keep telling y'all he's a coward. See, it says, my son, lead not a beggar life, for better it is to die than to beg. Now watch this. Watch this. He say self-employed almost 10 years. Now watch this. He say he's self-employed. Now ask him, I'm gonna ask him a question. Did you fill out an EIN number through the Internal Revenue Service, brother? Because you act like I'm not self-employed. And I've been self-employed for over 24 years. Brother, did you fill out an application to get an EIN number? Did you go through your state
to be able to incorporate your name? Huh? He said, I'm going. I'm not going to put the rest of my biz. Nah, you ain't got to put your biz out, brother. Did you go to the state to incorporate your name in the state and you had to look it up to see if your state, to see if that name was not taken, brother? That's yes or no. Do you fill out a 2290 to the Internal Revenue Service to be able to put your taxes in, brother? Nah, he said, I'm just talking. He said, I'm just talking. Look at him. See, this is what I'm telling y'all. See, these are liars. See, these are people that will sit there and lie to you. See, when you are self-employed family, you have to have an EIN number and you have to go to the state to be able to record your name and your number to go on Browns Dunn Street to be able to get your name inside of the corporation book. I have 3 corporations right now, family. And see, this is what I'm saying. This man is a liar. He sat there and the man who was that ex was I'm a God. And then he tried to jump in the conversation when I sat there and simply answered the brother question. Who was that? Who was that? Let me go back up. Big Daddy Smooth TV. When Big Daddy Smooth TV asked me was I'm a God, I told him no, I'm a servant to the God. This man talking about he put up Psalms 82:6. This is what I keep trying to tell y'all. Stop listening to these liars. He's a beggar. He have to beg to get what he needs. He's a liar. Now, let me finish reading so we can go ahead and get out to the post because we don't like to chat with liars. Then it says, the life of him that dependeth on a man on another man's table is not even counted for a life. Family, let me ask you a question. Deuteronomy 28:48, it says that we're going to go to these nations for everything, for food, clothing, shelter, water, everything in need. Let me ask you a question, family. This man sat here and asked, he said he's self-employed like that's some big thing. But you still got to go to the government to be able to be sanctioned to be self-employed. See, these people are liars. They are liars. See, this is what I'm saying. The Bible says it's better. The life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not counted for a life. For he polluted himself with another man's meat. Now see, now this is what I'm talking about. When the brother asked me was I'm a God, I say I'm a servant to a God. He sat there. Now this idiot brings up the thing, talk about Psalms 82:6, and then want to talk about telling my wife to sit in silence. Use a dummy if she gonna sit in silence. If I ask my wife to read or make a comment, she gonna read and make a comment. You sound dumb, son. You begging just like the rest of us. And you trying to make yourself bigger than everybody. That's why you cannot listen to these people who are simply fools and liars and deceivers. So it says, the life of him that depended on another man's table is not counted for a life, for he polluted himself with another man's meat. But a wise man, well nurtured, will beware thereof. That's why I asked him, do you have a driver's license in your pocket? Because that's how you eat, son. You a U.S. citizen, son. You a U.S. citizen, son. Huh? Begging is sweet in the mouth of the shameless. You ain't ashamed to have these people credentials in your pocket. These people can sit there and stop you and talk to you and do you all kind of way. You ain't ashamed of that. You get mad, but you ain't ashamed of that. That's why you keep renewing it. You a beggar, son. You a beggar. And then you try to come on the script, you try to come on my post and tell me this and that. Son, you a beggar. You don't even know the law. You a beggar. But in his belly there shall burn a fire. You want to come out, but you can't because you're stuck. You don't know how to separate yourself. Sis, you got last word, sis? beggar, son. You a beggar.
No, I just want to say shalom, and I just want to say that the information that's been presented today, as always, has been in accordance with the word, and you're just going to continue to grow, continue to learn, and continue to push on. And we're not going to allow ignorance. We're not going to allow anything to disrupt that, because that's not going to happen. But just as our listeners continue to grow and to learn and ask questions, that's what we're here for. We're here to learn, we're here to grow, and we're here to do the will of the Creator, point blank. So everybody have a happy Shabbat, and all praises to the Creator.
All praises. Can I have a piece of meat? Can I get a job? Can you give me this contract, brother? Can I please have this contract? I'm really starving to feed my family. Can I have a contract, brother? Show me. I'm gonna underbid this brother to get this contract. That's self-employed, fam. Oh my goodness. Oh man. Hey, shalom, Trey. Shalom, brother Trey. Oh man. Oh brother. Hey, shalom, brother Trey and sister Zipporah. Shalom, shalom, brother. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your Shabbat, brother. Have a wonderful rest of your Shabbat. Hey, may the Creator continue to keep you in peace, rest, and relaxful. And we thank the Creator for each one of you, including the hater, brother Emmanuel. Hawadayah. The elusive God who got driver's license in his pocket begging people for meat. Can't even produce his own meat. Family, we thank you for coming on the chat. And we also see that each one of us way that the rest of your Shabbat be peaceful, relaxful, and restful. We're not going to allow ignorance to continue to interrupt. We're not going to allow ignorance to interrupt. We're just going to laugh them out and just laugh them out and laugh them out because they're foolish. They're fools and they're silly. So we thank the Creator for you being here, and make sure you please press that like and subscribe button. Even if you press the thumbs down, all praises, it doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt. It just push it through the algorithm. So we thank the Creator for each one of you, and we hope to see you in part 4 because we're going to go deeper, especially Brother Emmanuel. We're going to get into Jesus next week. I hope you stay tuned because I'm going to bust his butt. Shalom.